Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. And we are back with part 2 of the Francesca Fiorentini Cenk Uygur debate conversation. I get the feeling that this was intended to be more of a conversation, less of a debate. And Cenk made it into a debate. It's going exceedingly poorly. So I guess let's just jump right in. Francesca seems to have touched a nerve with Cenk here, and well, I feel like the rest of this is going to be far more confrontational than the opening.
So I was in the room. 2/3 of them cheered. 1/3 of them clearly did not, and groaned and cheered.
The people who were cheering were not mic'd properly. I understand.
Damn.
Look. It was a swing. It's good you asked, but I didn't think that you really had like a save for that, because I think you were like, you actually gave them credit for the few people that agreed. And meanwhile, Cenk, you have so much disdain for our side. If I say, hey, I believe trans people should play in sports, you have so much disdain. You get so mad. But here you are,
I don't get mad, he says, after one of the most mad outbursts you've ever seen in your life.
And here is what you say.
Constitutional right to housing.
Okay, so I hear you. What I got out of that, guys...
I'm just trying to be the interpreter.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of applause and there was some consternation, right? I'll take it. It's a start. So, guys, we can even disagree about what's constitutional, Second Amendment, housing, etc. But just let's treat everyone as Americans. And I say that to the right, and I say it to the left.
Sure.
Okay, so
When's the last time they heard that message? Never.
Thank you for.
This may be a deep cut, but is Cenk about to turn into a corn cob? Is that what's about to happen here?
No, I guess thank you, but you have so much grace for people who really were groaning and not on board with what you said.
When did I say I have grace for that?
I mean, no, you said it right there. You said, hey, I'll take
You don't have to say it when you demonstrate it, man.
It. And it was like, this is what we got to do.
The room said, yay, trans constitutional rights.
Like the same way like a member of the KKK doesn't have to say that they're a racist if they show up in their Klan robes. Like you don't gotta say that you're giving them grace when you're giving them grace actively in front of us.
When's the last time 2/3 of AmFest
why
cheered for constitutional rights?
Why do you not extend the same grace to so-called radical leftists?
I'm really glad we're back to this, Franny, because this is important. And we mentioned in the beginning, and I wanted to come back to it. Mm-hmm. So having grace for the left, I run the network, and everybody gets to have...
What's real weird here is that Francesca seems like the kind of person he's talking about when he is spitting disdainfully about like Sam Cedar or Emma Vigeland, you know? Like she's actually someone who's organized on the ground, who's actually like done grassroots organizing and such. And like I don't know, does he not realize like the people within his network and within his professional circles are being hit by his strays?
Have their own opinion. Everybody gets to fight me. Everybody gets to state their own opinion without any editorial control. First of all,
you do go ballistic on them like you went ballistic on me earlier.
Yeah,
you do get, and you
you
always say you're wrong. Yeah, you want me to do that? I can do it. Right.
Oh, her denim jacket has like a built-in cravat. Is that it? That's neat. I like it.
Wrong! You're an idiot! You're wrong!
Franny,
we can do it. We know what you do when you disagree. It's not.
Franny,
it's not. I'll take it.
Hold on. This is super important for the audience to know. But so we fight, right? When we disagree, I say you're wrong. You say I'm wrong.
Very rarely.
Is there any consequences afterwards? Do I then threaten your job? Do I take people off the air?
I mean, I barely have a job with y'all, but like.
I don't know about that one. Like, I don't know, pissing off your boss seems like a poor career move, generally speaking. And also, I just gotta throw this out there, like, we've seen Cenk Uygur interact with Charlie Kirk before, and it was to, like, stand up in a crowd and heckle him off stage, and that's where we get the legendary line, "I live like a capitalist every day, Cenk." And, like, that antagonism has evaporated. Whatever fighting spirit that had is gone. Hey, Smite Knight. Coming from the Polymarket studio was the final nail of the TYT channel. True. We should get that as like a should get that as a sound clip.
Like, look, first of all, we rarely ever, back to what I'm saying, Cenk. Who's your main co-host?
Anna, yeah, on the Young
Yes.
Turks.
When
But
you
you know
say,
that there's like over 24 Young Turks contributors and hosts.
I know, I understand
Right.
that.
So,
And
okay, but
I'm
Franny,
trying to tell you that there is in fact, Cenk, let's just be real. We said this privately. I'll say it publicly now.
Also, can I just say, like, TYT has 24 shows and hosts? Because, like, they do a piss poor job, like, amplifying them outside of the main show. Like, you've got the only ones I'm aware of are like maybe like three or four outside of the main show. Where are the other 20 that I've never heard of?
About a year ago, around the time of the trans stuff, and the trans sports stuff, you said to me, "Hey, Francesca, just so you know," and I don't think it's not a secret, but you didn't tell the audience. But it was like, "Hey, just so you know, like TYT main show is kind of like mainstream progressives. Like that's sort of what
Are they
we
all
wanna
on the
be,
TYT channel? I don't
and
think
you know,
so.
we're more mainstream. Just so you know, we're like moderate progressives kind of thing." And I was like, "Okay." And then I said to you, why don't we have a debate? Like, why don't you bring John and I on? We debate, you and Anna. We could talk about trans issues. We could talk about, crime. We could talk about all the things that always, get under our skirts. Like, we could talk about that stuff. And that was like, you didn't seem that very excited about that.
Yeah, Hassan has been one of the best success stories to come out of TYT, and honestly, it's mostly on his own merits.
Franny, that is a crazy standard. So first of all,
standard. No, I'm just being honest. Like,
hold on,
just to
hold on.
say, like, we've
Franny,
never
can I
had that
just
space.
answer? Can I answer? Okay.
Are you mad?
Oh, he's talking about the HQ contributors? Oh, like the short little YouTube clips who are doing like on the ground stuff. Gotcha.
Someone's talking too much? Is Cenk Uygur mad someone else is talking too
Yeah.
much?
So when do I get?
Yeah, John and Fran need to be free. Freedom for Francesca and John.
Animated when people cut me off. That's what drives me crazy.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So now
Cenk, you can't say that. You can't say that it drives you crazy when other people cut you off when you constantly cut off other people. Dude.
the thing that you just
Yeah, Dr. Rashad is another one. I've heard of that one, but I've never. I don't know where the shows are.
that was our private conversation. I literally said at the very beginning of this broadcast. Okay, so I said populist establishment is one spectrum, and we're on the extreme end of populism. Left-right spectrum is different, and we're not on the extreme of the left. I said we're kind of in the middle, not the moderate BS that the mainstream media.
Oh yeah, you're in the middle, not the moderate mainstream middle, but like the middle, the real middle. You're the true enlightened centrists, the true, dare I say, Tim Pools. Strange.
Right? Oh, Joe Manchin is moderate. No, he's not. Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell are moderate. No, they're not. They're radical corporatists. Okay, they've perverted the word.
Good night, Judgment Free Zone.
So, but am I in the center of the left? Yes, I'm in the center of the left, and so is Anna. So, like, people catch feelings over that, but the polling shows it, elections show it, everything shows we're in the center of the left, and I'm proud to be there. I don't want to be on the far left.
I don't think,
but I don't block anyone from being on the far left. And we've had thousands of conversations. And the reason why I'm saying your standard is unfair is you're saying you and John.
You got the live from the Polymarket studio in LA sound clip. Oh, you wonderful human, you. I'll put it on the soundboard when I actually have free time at my apartment because I haven't been there for a while.
not involved in those debates, but I've had those debates on air, and I'll have more. I don't care. I'm not shy about it at all. Do I?
Or maybe, just maybe.
Live from the Polymorph studio in LA.
Excellent. Also, what is this one? What is this Dennis Prager one?
I'm much more frustrated by how many people I haven't touched than I am exhilarated by the number of people I have touched.
That one. It's really good, Gamer G. That was perfect. That's a grade A. That's a grade A Dennis Prager sound clip. Oh God.
Debating or discussing?
Yeah, these are real quotes. We aren't AI-ing any of these quotes.
So if you want to have another one on the Young Turks, me and you at the 5 o'clock hour.
This was Smite Knight. Thank you for subscribing.
He's not on the left. That's the problem. He's on the right in the same way that CNN's balanced panels are on the right. In the same way that having a climate scientist and climate change denier on to debate is being fair and balanced.
Yup.
Or whatever it might be, because 3 to 5. So I'm saying Pacific time. Everybody knows Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, we do the show, and that's a news show. So we go through the news items, right? But now sometimes what we're doing is at 5 o'clock, we're having guests on for longer conversations. So if more progressives that are on the just as populist as us or somewhere else on the populist spectrum, but to the left of us on that spectrum want to come on, great. I believe in my opinions 100%. I'm here to defend it. That's why I'm on this show. So, but what gets me animated is when others say, no, Cenk, you are not allowed to have that opinion. You're
allowed to have the opinion, but other people are allowed to criticize you. This is the same as when right-wingers complain about like being censored on on like social media platforms, and it's just like people criticizing them. Like that's not what this means. You're allowed to have the opinion. People are also allowed to disagree with you.
Everybody the space to have their own opinion, and I run the network. But Cenk, you, even though you run the network, even if you didn't run the network, you're not allowed to have that opinion because that opinion aids and abets racist, sexist, whatever excuse we're using. But you're not allowed to have it as an immoral opinion, and you're not. And no,
I
do not agree to that.
I've been an example for the last hour of trying to hear you out on your opinion on all of this, and I feel like I've gotten, when the converse happens and I explain that I think that there's a fine line between being anti-establishment and fascistic. There is a fine line between being populist and pro-authoritarian, that so many throughout history, authoritarians, Mussolini, have been massive populists. They were loved and liked so long as certain groups of people weren't included in that populism. And I think there's a better way to do populism. And so
okay, you tell me, Franny, what's your genius idea for how to win the voters back without ever talking to them?
Well, here's my genius idea. Let's just say, okay, just imagine you had the big.
You have also been calling them fascists and racists. How are you taking this weird moral high ground, dog? They are, like, a lot of them are fascists and racists. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Biggest YouTube channel for, progressive media. Just imagine you had that. And you had a massive failure in the Democratic establishment. Kamala Harris gets her ass handed to her. Biden didn't drop out.
I can imagine that.
And people are scrambling. They're running like, rats off a sinking ship from MSNBC, from Pod Save America, and all these Beltway bros that lied to them about the Democratic Party having this in the bag, knowing what they were doing, that never talked about capitalism, that never talked about corporate donors, that never talked about any of that stuff. And I would love, if I had a network, to be the place where people from the center left or liberals, the wicked liberals, to come over and say, hey, let's think systematically about this. Let's think long-term about this. Let's think about political revolution. Let's think about getting serious about the 99% against the 1%. That's what I would do.
That's exactly what I'm doing. So you're welcome. I explained exactly.
Oh God, what? It's literally the SpongeBob meme. It's the Patrick Star wallet meme. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? It's literally this. It's oh God, please. There we go. Are you Patrick Star? Yup. And this is your ID. Yup. I found this ID in this wallet, and if that's the case, this must be your wallet. That makes sense to me. Then take it. It's not my wallet. It literally it's literally this, but with political ideologies for Cenk Uygur. And Francesca, I think, is just as baffled as all of us are here.
Exactly.
I don't.
Hold on, let me answer.
I don't see you doing that.
No, you're wrong. Again, you're wrong. So
you're wrong for not seeing my point. If she's wrong, then make your point better.
I explained how Pod Save America and The View and Morning Joe were so full of crap, pretending that they knew all along that Joe Biden was had trouble. Then why didn't you say it, you liars? Why did you protect him all along? I ran against Joe Biden. I did a petition against Joe Biden. I said we should do an open primary. My number one motivating factor is to find a populist left figure that wins that 2028 primary. That is the most important thing in the world. And now you've got me scared, Franny, that all of a sudden, like, if the far left peels off and goes and agrees with the establishment and votes with them, I will lose my freaking mind. It will be the greatest betrayal of this movement that I have ever seen. So I am massively against
I don't think you consider
anyone on the left should be massively against the establishment. So what you're using is fear of the right-wing populism going.
The insane thing is that he's saying that Donald Trump, the person who is going to be president in less than a month, isn't the establishment. The guy who is, a billionaire and who was president previously and is currently the head of the Republican Party and able to appoint people to the head of the RNC and currently holds all positions of power throughout the U.S. government. When it comes to what is controlled by Republicans, not establishment. Gotcha.
South on us, which is a real fear.
Going south.
I'm going insane. Yeah.
Trying to guard against, to say, like, to now all of a sudden.
I feel like Francesca's heart is breaking here. It looks like she feels pity for him, honestly.
Like, wait, maybe the establishment's not so bad. No, the establishment's horrible. It's horrible. I'm not going back in that prison. I'd rather be in the populist woods with real human beings.
Didn't he vote for Kamala? My understanding is that he voted for Kamala Harris and was advocating for others to vote for Kamala Harris prior to the election. And now he's like, just going fucking crazy, man. In 2016, the loss of Bernie Sanders broke the Chapo boys, and that got me off of paying a lot of attention to Chapo Trap House. But I think in the same way that 2016 broke Chapo Trap House, 2024 broke Cenk Uygur, and I think it's pretty apparent from everything that's happening here.
Fighting and battling and trying to get to the right answer and the right coalitions than to be in an establishment prison where we're now locked up by Mitch McConnell and goddamn Dick Cheney and Joe Biden and Pelosi, and we're marched back into let it continue the robbery. Thank you, sir, for the robbery. We appreciate.
She looks like she's about to cry. They both look like they're about to cry.
do your
And
stupid
the
friggin'
right's not
robbery.
robbing people?
So-
The right doesn't rob people?
So, no, but look at that, Franny. Look at what you're saying. I just said 200 times in this interview that Trump's a fake populist and there's going to be a huge
Yeah,
robbery.
but you're carrying water for him and his acolytes, man. Like, you can't get around that. You're saying he's a fake populist. You're serving his ends, man.
Concretely, I don't
And
know
then
who
you
you're
then
talking
turn
about.
around and say, oh, so
Concretely.
you think the right's not
No,
going to
no,
do
no,
it?
no, no.
Why do
I'm
you
just
say
like,
that?
let me.
Yeah,
let-
this is a great question. Like, who is he talking about? Who does he think is this right populist ally? What faction? What group? Like, I don't know. Is it like Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't think he'd go with that. He mentioned Jewish space lasers already, derisively, so it's probably not MTG. Like, who would he be? Who would he even be talking about? Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley is like one of the guys who cheered on the attempted overthrow of democracy. Is he talking about like Matt Gaetz? Who is he talking about? I'm really curious to know. I'm trying to suss it out like before he says it. Like, I'm trying to think here. Like, who would even be considered? Maybe he knows like some junior member of Congress that I'm not aware of. You know, maybe not a headliner, but still a vote.
Let me just say how I see it. Just you've explained how you see it.
Oh yeah, Cenk did get quote tweeted by Matt Gaetz. That was embarrassing. And just pull that up real quick. Jesus Christ. Yesterday, agree with him or disagree, Cenk is a must follow right now. Just absolutely, man, Cenk must be so proud getting endorsed by the man who is currently most famous for having sex with children. I agree with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy about H-1B visas, but I love the rebellion against them because it shows that MAGA is thinking for itself. The rebellion against them is not thinking for themselves. It's just a racist mob mentality. That's like looking that's like looking at like a Southern hate crime and being like, good, the KKK members are thinking for themselves. Finally, like, what are you doing, man? I disagree with the right-wing populists here because I think it's awesome that the most talented engineers across the world want to come here, and I think they make us stronger. Blah, blah, blah. This fight shows that MAGA is not a monolith, and that's a great thing.
Cenk is too stubborn, proud, and petty to admit when he's wrong.
I mean, all of that is true. Also, Airbnb Abortion, thank you for subscribing over on Twitch. I mean, it is good that MAGA is not a monolith, but like as we've seen from today with Donald Trump coming out in favor of H-1B visas, like it's not this schism isn't going to matter. It's not going to devolve into two factions because he sided with power and his base follows power. So like that will heal up the schism. Vivek is right and wrong. He's right that we should celebrate nerds and people who work hard in school, but he's wrong that we need to put down anyone else in order to do that. I was both an honor student and the middle linebacker of our football team. There's nothing wrong with being a jock or a nerd, or both. I can't stand Laura Loomer, and I think her comments about Indians are awful. Oh, why is there a but there, Cenk? But I also don't think she should be punished for her comments, blocked or unverified. Let the marketplace of ideas sort this out. The forces for good don't need censors to help us. Hey, Cenk, are you gonna allow like people in your YouTube chat to just spam the N-word? Are you gonna allow people in your Twitch chats to spam the N-word? You gonna allow that? My guess is no. But why aren't you letting this? Why are you not letting the forces of good triumph in the absence of censorship? This is lunacy. This is baby-brained, absolute horseshit. I agree with marketplace of ideas. It's not, frankly. The issue is the marketplace of ideas has always been a fallacy built upon faulty reasoning. In the marketplace of ideas, it's not necessarily the idea that is the most meritorious that succeeds. It's the idea that has the most power and money behind it. You know? That's how a marketplace works. You can dominate a marketplace with money. Similarly, if you turn the exchange of ideologies and ideas into a marketplace, then an idea backed by enough money and power can dominate that marketplace. Like, it's not rocket science. You can buy attention with money. And by buying attention, you get the control of the marketplace. Like, this is exactly what Elon Musk did. And now he controls the marketplace of ideas in a very literal sense when it comes to Twitter. And look, if you want to know what it's like without any kind of censorship, head over to 4chan. Head over to 8chan. Head over to any one of those weird spin-off sites. And you know what you'll find? You'll find absolute degeneracy. And when I say it, I mean, like, you'll find like disgusting stuff. You'll find like snuff films. You'll find like hate crimes on video. You'll find child pornography. You'll find all kinds of awful shit over there. Illegal shit. And you'll find plenty of slurs and hatred. Money doesn't always buy viewership. It can be used to buy viewership, though, because then it doesn't matter if your projects make money or not. If you have the backing of a billionaire, then it turns out you can have millions of people tune into what you say, even if what you have to say is boring and pointless and doesn't add anything of value to the discussion. Even if what you say is just slurs and racism and bigotry, it doesn't matter. If you have $1 billion backing you, you can say whatever you want, and you have, frankly, a large chunk of the marketplace of ideas because money is being spent to prop you up. Daily Wire can put out flop film after flop film after flop film, and it doesn't matter because billionaires back them. You can, in fact, buy views. You know, you like PragerU, backed by billionaires. Doesn't matter that only like most of their videos get like 1,000 views a pop. Or Sinclair Media is a great example, Punky Gal. Sinclair Media bought up all the local news stations, and now they're able to mainstream any kind of conservative idea they want directly into your local home. When you have enough money, you control the marketplace. It's that simple. And saying, well, Laura Loomer shouldn't be punished for being racist is just kind of like, because of the marketplace of ideas, it's just saying, well, it's okay to be, you know, a racist bigot as long as you have enough money. In my mind. And I disagree with that. I think that actually sometimes it's good for websites to have a minimum standard of decorum. The same way I think it's fine if you, if you expel someone who comes into your store and takes a shit in the middle of it, I think it's fine for you to kick that person out of your store. I think it is fine to kick someone out of your store for coming in and just screaming the N-word over and over. I think that's fine. That's not infringing on the marketplace of ideas. That's enforcing a basic standard code of conduct, which is fine. You do not look like a woman at all, man, except the reality. Dude, I don't think you've ever seen a woman if you think I don't look like one. Let's see. Just started a new Twitter account last week to see what the algorithm was like, and even though I had selected only food and travel as my interests, I was immediately fed bullshit by Marjorie Taylor Greene, M. Varel, and all kinds of bullshit like that. Yep. All right. Anyway, we're gonna get back to this. Man, being endorsed by like a guy who is just exposed as being a pedophile is a real kick in the nuts, eh, Cenk?
So I've been covering Trump since 2016. We covered his rise. One of the big videos we did in AJ Plus was like, why do people like Trump? Right. And everyone was like, oh no, we have to talk about why people like Trump. And it's so obvious. The outside.
I take the Noam Chomsky position. You have to defend the viewpoint you hate as much as the viewpoint you love if you want true freedom of speech. No, I don't think that I need to defend the viewpoint of people who think I should die. I don't think I should be. I don't think I should. It is incumbent upon me to defend the position of folks who think I don't deserve the right to exist by how I exist. So if you think that, that's interesting, but I disagree with it intensely. Also, weirdly enough, Noam Chomsky got real defensive and didn't really want to defend the viewpoint he hated as much as the viewpoint he loved when it came to what he was doing on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and island. So maybe take what he said with a little bit of salt. He had some good ideas, but associating with Jeffrey Epstein wasn't one of them.
Tells it like it is, very direct, you know, not afraid to
also defend their right to say it. Look, in the real world, in a state of nature, in a state of anarchy, like what Noam Chomsky embraced, if someone said something you disagreed with that was inciting violence towards you, you would be fully justified in beating them to death with a rock. So, like, we don't live in that society, and I think maybe it would be good instead to have rules of decorum.
Set, you know, yes, the normal establishment order of like, you gotta be a politician, you gotta be this. Of course, there's a million. He's kind of funny. There's a million reasons.
Totally
and
agree.
you know, right.
And for the record, I do like a lot of Noam Chomsky's ideas. That one's not one of his best ones.
There's a million reasons why people like him, and yet obviously there is a massive danger. My brain just made the biggest fart noise on me, and I do not remember exactly what I was saying. But
that's okay. So you
no.
Yeah.
You're right. Keep you say
something. Man,
yeah,
Francesca.
So Franny, look, it's when I talk about people attacking us, I want to be clear about.
Hey, hyperaggressive, how you doing?
Okay, yeah. wait. You say that really quickly.
Yeah,
I remembered. My analysis has always been
the rule of decorum is always a slippery slope. Oh, okay. Then I want you to try saying the N-word in my chat. Baby Vasso, say the N-word in my chat. I have a rule of decorum against it, but, if it's a slippery slope, you should clearly take a hard stance against that. It doesn't have to be the N-word. Any sufficiently offensive slur will do. This is a privately owned company. It has the ability to write its own rules. It's not, actually. It's just my chat. So, say a slur. Please, a sufficiently, bad one. A very harsh one. Or you can give a really spicy opinion, like you think child pornography is totally great. Say something like that. After all, rules of decorum are a slippery slope, and you should, of course, resist that, right? Wouldn't want to have a slippery slope around here. You want a firm foundation, right? So challenge the rule of decorum here. Or is your position full of shit? I wonder. I'll pass, not something I personally say. Yeah, because your position is full of shit.
Donald Trump is a great brand master as an outsider, but he's a Trojan horse. that at the end of the day, even though Mitch McConnell, says his bullshit and whatever, of course he wants all the same things that Donald Trump wants. Trump is a brilliant Trojan horse for, yes, the establishment right. Look at all the neocons he's appointed.
Carrion Coyote gets it. Every culture and movement has decorum as part of it, and it's literally impossible to have a social forum without there being a standard of behavior. Ding, ding, ding. That's part of living in society.
I made a joke like, oh, all the cabinet positions are going to be, and yeah, you've got a random Kash Patel and whomever, but they're going to be the people commenting on his
I'll say something, libs are fucking mid. True.
Truth Social. It's like, nah, he's picking Huckabee. He's picking Marco Rubio. He's got Elise Stefanik. He's all these people who we're going to be at war with Iran within a couple years. I have no doubts about that. So like, I truly, unless again, his actual base is like, no, including us, like, I just feel like, is that not clear? I thought we were all clear that Trump was literally just a Trojan horse for establishment politics. It's as if Bernie Sanders said all the things and all the right things, but when got into office, Nancy Pelosi's behind the curtain pulling the
John
levers.
Bainbridge.
Like, wasn't that just understood that that's who he was?
So no, it's more complicated than that. I agree with everything you said about Trump and why he got to be popular. He ran as anti-establishment.
Right.
As a fake populist, right?
Right.
And so that's what worked really well. Wouldn't it be amazing if we had a real populist on the left and ran on populist left? So I hope to God we all agree to that in the 2028 primaries. So in terms of the part that...
Well, the thing is, Keggy, I understand what his position is. It's just that the way he is pursuing that stated position is ludicrous and nonsensical. He's seeing a victory where there isn't one. That's part of the issue. Like, he's seeing a position of agreement where there's not one. And in order to pursue it, he's willing to go and lick the boots of conservatives in a way that is not going to win them over. He's a trophy to them. He's a victory, a symbol of their victory. It's not an effective way to build a bridge with anyone, because to them, he's just a loser who's, at best, a wayward convert, far too late to the cause, and at worst, a fake populist, Yeah, there's a reason why when we covered the Charlie Kirk appearance he did, I called him Charlie Kirk's bitch, because that is symbolically what Charlie Kirk made him into for that appearance.
I don't quite agree on the Trojan horse. You're right. That's all he's done so far. In the first term, he had 4 freaking years, and his number one and almost only accomplishment was corporate tax cuts. Massive, massive corporate tax cuts. And in fact, on the Young Turks, back then I said, watch, the establishment is going to leave him the minute those tax cuts pass. I even named a name. I said Gary Cohn, his national economic advisor. Okay, he's going to leave right after the corporate tax cuts pass, because that was the Trojan horse part. So you're right about that, right? But Trump is uncontrollable. So that's why that's why the Mitch McConnell and the establishment fights against Trump during the primaries. They didn't want him because they want people that can be controlled. Trump is uncontrollable both in terrible ways and maybe potentially ways that could be positive. And that is what...
But if he's uncontrollable in ways that could be positive, then he's going to do that whether you lick their boots or not. Like, maybe Cenk is trying to argue that he's weighting the scales a little bit, but with whom? Who within Donald Trump's orbit is going to be at all swayed by this? I can't think of a single name.
Why the establishment is scared to death of him is because they're like, well, what if he does things that are populist in the right direction? No, right? Now, he hasn't yet, right? So, and the policy that you just mentioned, Franny, that's the one where the rubber hits the road. And so I am so curious what's going to happen. So
he's selling out all of his credibility for a, 2% chance that Donald Trump might listen to him. And even if that 2% chance comes to fruition, it's going to be on one thing, one time. And the other 98% of the time, Donald Trump is going to do the unimaginable level of suffering and torment that he's been promising to do. And like, in my mind, okay, if I'm looking at this and I'm Cenk Uygur and I have access and control one of the largest left-wing news networks in the world, I look at this and I say, how can we bend our resources and our structure towards, you know, getting people involved in the Democratic Party, getting people involved in like local community organizing efforts, into truly grassroots level forms of resistance, in order to survive the challenges and times ahead. I look at what we can actually do with what we have. And which is why I've set up my Discord to try and help folks who need to get out of dangerous states, to get out of, to find safe harbor, safe housing in places that have state level protections for them, because that's going to buy you some valuable time if things really hit the fan. That's why I have a knowledge base that we are collectively building up in the Riverboat Jack Discord, so that you can find safe places to go, so you can know where to stop on road trips, so you can know like what skills are available to you in this community, and how people might be able to help you in this community, and you know, even channels where folks can like maybe even financially support one another if the need arises. And like, we're working on other tools, you know, in the meantime, but like, that's me and that's this community, and we are pitifully small compared to whatever TYT might be able to field. And instead of doing anything remotely helpful, Cenk is using his time to shit on people who are in danger, who are directly in the path of this incoming administration. And instead, he's bending the knee and licking the boots of the people who want to step on and crush the necks of untold numbers of people in this country. So, like, I don't know. This is why I'm trying to funnel people into DSA and their local Dems, because at least in those organizations, you can do something productive with your anxious energy. You can do something that might actually help your local community and help your local area. Because again, DSA doesn't just get involved in politics. They can get involved in a lot of other things in your local area, whether it's feeding folks or providing housing or whatever, what have you. Like, there are so many things that Cenk Uygur could do with TYT that would be effective means of political organizing and political deployment. And instead, he's betting everything on like a 2% chance or a 0.02% chance that maybe Donald Trump might give him a crumb of attention. And that seems really, really bizarre. My local DSA disappeared a couple years ago. Well, maybe GamerG in the Discord can help you find them, or help you set up a new branch, because you can do that too. I feel bad for all the cool peeps at TYT. Ravana, I think Ravana is out. I think Ravana went and got her law degree. But yeah, I do wonder what she thinks about all this. Friend of the show, Ravana. We've gotten like 6 or 7 riverboaters into DSA, and Jack is like 1/100th of what TYT was. Yeah. And my hope is that we can make that 6 or 7 number into 60, 70, 600, 700. Let's go. The amount of change you can do with like, 10 to 20 people is huge. And anything even more than that is exponentially larger. Let's go, folks. Let's go.
Israel has absolute power at this point. And they believe, and they're drunk on power because they believe Trump is going to give them everything that they want. And in the beginning, he definitely will. That's why he nominated Team Miriam, as I explained earlier, Stefanik, Rubio, etc. Right? And so those guys will be our neocons. They will push for us to fund Israel's wars from here to eternity. If I am wrong, then there'll never be any pushback from the right-wing populists, the MAGA base, and they'll be like, oh, send all of our money to Israel, start more wars. Maybe we should fight the wars for Israel.
Man, this has aged terribly, and this has been up for less than 24 hours because Donald Trump is out here like threatening to invade Greenland.
And then I'll come on your show and go on the Young Turks and say, guys, I was wrong. No, it turns out the right-wing populists, they weren't anti-war. They were just cultists, right? Or I'll be right, and some portion of that base will go.
What is the Discord info? Just type into your URL riverboat.gg/Discord.
No, we're sick of funding Israel's wars. Not that they care about Muslims. I mean, Tucker's a good example of it. He turned on the Iraq war a year into the war, and he explained on a radio show, he's like, because they're these Iraqi Arab Muslims are monkeys, and I don't care about them. So he doesn't do it with good intent or anything positive in his heart, but they genuinely want to get the hell out of wars, right?
Yes.
So if I'm right.
No, they don't. They don't. What are you talking about? Tucker Carlson is like full-on Christian nationalist, talking about how he's physically battled demons these days. Like, he's very much in favor of like religious wars against like Muslims in other countries. Like the idea that these people like stalled out back in 2005 and were just like, oh yeah, Tucker Carlson was anti one war in 2005, so therefore he's anti all wars. That's insane.
When Trump pushes too far on Israel, they're going to push back.
I think
so that's a great mystery.
I wanted to...
Girl, how are you still going? You started on my way to work and you're still going now that I am home?
I felt like this was really important to cover in its entirety. And once I'm done with this, I want to be done with talking about TYT and Cenk. Like, this isn't... This is awful, but I feel like some amount of responsibility because I've platformed them and told people to go follow them in the past to like cover this and let people know, no, this is beyond the pale. This is awful. And so, you know, that's what we're doing.
Our own eyes.
Yes. And I want to say, for the record, I'm not against...
TYT will keep digging after this. They'll find new cringe. I'm sure they will. But like, I need to like adopt just at a certain point, you know, I'll put this out and then be done with TYT for like, I don't know, 3 months. We'll check back in.
Here's what I'm not against. Bringing those people into the fold of a...
We also said we were done with TYT like 4 TYT streams ago. It's true. I would like to be done with them.
Broad progressive coalition
Great.
That includes everyone. So,
Great.
and does, however, if those folks are also like, yeah, because there's already too many...
Like at this point, I'm just kind of waiting for like the next shoe to drop would be like Cenk Uygur interviewing Donald Trump in like just giving him the most fawning interview ever that ends with an offer for like a hand job or something. Like it's really bad.
Muslims here, right, guys? That's something that I have a line around, but that's not to say, especially if it's some random uninformed voter who's just like racist by, just sort of not genetically, but like their dad was a racist, so they are a little bit, whatever. Like those people, those people can be worked on. I do think for me, this is what a broad coalition looks like, but there are lines, and that line for me is respecting human rights and civil rights of your fellow Americans, which I think you're trying to get to. But I do want to ask,
why did he start shaking his head at the mention of human rights and civil rights? What's wrong with you, my guy?
We all hate Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, but like in practice, is what you're doing that different from, like, if you were to get invited to Mar-a-Lago?
He mad at that question. He's so fucking mad.
Wouldn't you go?
Oh, I would definitely go. And so, okay, so
to open lines of discussion.
Yeah, so good question. So let me address it. So
I would definitely go. And then we'd have a lot of really good conversations with all those populists at Mar-a-Lago.
Mika and Joe were very clear. They said we went down there because
Good
we're
God.
scared, and they wanted to court power and get access again. So to me, what is that about? That's about their ego. That's about their career. That's about their money, etc. For me, why would I go to Mar-a-Lago? Well, I'm not going to ask for any money. I never do. I don't. That's not what I do. And I don't care about their positions. I don't want to be in the Trump administration. I don't care about any of that. What do I care about? I care about policy. So I believe that if I'm in a room with Trump, I can convince him on at least one policy. Okay. And I know no one believes that, but just put me in a room with him. Okay. And I'm not going to walk out of it. And if he says no to the policy, right, then I'm gone. And I gave it my best shot and it didn't work. Okay. But at least I tried. At least I tried really hard to move.
Oh, Ash Bradford, I think you need to verify like your phone number with Discord in order to chat.
Move that ship in the right direction. Remember,
we don't get that information. Just Discord needs the phone verification.
Trump likes to be popular. So that is a place where you could show him, hey, look at these populist positions, economically populist positions, which are overwhelmingly popular. Do that. So a good example is cut the Pentagon instead of cutting Medicare, right?
And what do you think the probability? I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think under Doge? What is the probability that the Pentagon is cut versus what every single Republican ultimately wants, and that's why this guy is their Trojan horse, cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid? Like, what's the probability they actually cut the Pentagon instead? I'm giving it a 4% chance on Polymarket.
Yeah. Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
We should do a bet on there.
Let's do a bet.
Live from the
Polymarket studio in LA. I've got it at 20%. So not very high, but higher than what you got it at. 20% that they cut the Pentagon. So 80% that they won't. But now there's a fighter's chance that they do.
In comparison, there's literally not a fighter's chance that they cut the Pentagon. What are you talking about, bro? Hell will literally be frozen solid before Donald Trump cuts the Pentagon. Are you fucking kidding me, bro?
And like they rather.
Hold on. What is the chance that they try to cut Medicare or Social Security? 60%.
No, it's not even 60%. It's like they're going to try. That is a 100% guarantee. Will they succeed? Maybe that's at like a 80% chance of success, but they are 100% going to try.
So that's still much more likely, right?
Yes.
And I've started to see and by the way, here's another reason to communicate. I now am seeing right-wing hosts talking about cutting Social Security. So they're coming for Social Security. I see them talking about arresting two people. So they, the two that they're most obsessed with, Fauci and Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
So that's real, and we got to stop that. I hate Liz Cheney, but you.
How are you going to stop that? You're gonna reach out to your populist conservative friends? They gonna rally up the troops on the right to get them to defend Dr. Fauci? What mechanism do you propose we use?
You don't arrest her because you don't like her. That's not a thing. And in fact, I had a huge battle with Vinny, who's a right-wing populist that I agree with some issues on, but a huge battle on that on Patrick Bet-David's show last time. I'm like, brother, you need a crime to arrest people.
Oh God, winners and losers. Don't speak that into existence. Don't like create like SS coin where they just pour all Social Security funds into crypto. Let's not have that, please.
She hurt my feelings is not a crime, right? She disagreed with Trump is not a crime.
I mean, it is now. I mean, Kash Patel, if you are a journalist or a pundit going on MSNBC and you say something about Kash Patel, he's going to send you a defamation, letter of defamation, whatever, a threat to sue him. And that's what's happening. I actually, and I do, here's lastly, do you have a second, a little bit more?
Yeah, and I want to say one last thing too, but go ahead, Franny.
Okay, I just want to, because this I think was another.
You just want to say one last thing. There's 40 minutes left in this. What are you talking about, bro?
Moment on Patrick Bet-David's show that stung, and I appreciate that you got into it with Vinny. I'm not discrediting that. Again, I'm not saying all of these appearances have been 100% awful. I just feel there have been moments where you throw the left under the bus more than you push back on the right. And I you might disagree with the characterization. That's how I feel. This part stung for me.
Why do you think they're
Hey, can one of the mods over in Riverboat chat help Ash Bradford out in Twitch chat with getting onboarded into the Discord?
losing these names? Yeah, so everything's a little bit different,
And
and
he's talking about like the Tulsi Gabbards and RFK Jr. and why the Democrats have lost those names.
Yeah.
Ooh.
person's different. So Tulsi, I think, was always secretly a right winger, but Bobby Kennedy Jr. was not. He was definitely a Democrat, right? And so he's a decent example. So Bob,
This is why you need to understand the conspiracy singularity. Otherwise, you have no real point of reference for RFK Jr. You know, like, if you don't understand how conspiracism always devolves into far-right insanity, you're left scratching your head and you're just like, well, RFK Jr. has always been a leftist.
Bobby has opinions that a lot of people on the left don't agree with, right? To which I say something revolutionary to the left. So what? Okay, he agrees with us on the environment. He agrees with us on housing, on anti-corruption. He doesn't agree with us on vaccines, fluoride, etc., right?
Okay, I stopped it there because you talked about, giving him a fair shot in the primaries, which I actually agree with you about. However, I take issue with, so what? My daughter's 2. She's going to be going to preschool, then to kindergarten, then obviously in public school. So what for childhood vaccinations is truly whether or not my community and my family are safe or not. Having RFK Jr. as the head of the HHS is wildly dangerous. And it's not a culture war issue, Cenk. I'm not saying he's not right on some things, but again, what's the probability that his HHS is going to do anything to rein in corporate power or regulate, the big R word, regulate any of the ways that they poison us? No, they're not going to do that. What they will do is get rid of any vaccination requirements and just sow even more distrust in what has protected millions of people.
Yeah, so it's a fair question because you're misinterpreting what I mean by so what, but not on purpose. It's a miscommunication.
At least Cenk can admit that. Good God.
So
welcome back.
When
it's
I
me,
say
Airbnb
so what,
show.
I don't mean, oh, it's no big deal, or that we shouldn't fight him as the head of HHS. I'm against him being the head of HHS. I mean, so what is in, so what? Then let's fight him on those things, right? So I wish he was the head of HUD.
Let's fight him on those things. How? Through what mechanism? There is no mechanism on which to fight him on these.
And then
does he mean physically fist fight RFK Jr.?
Would support him. He is great. He wants to ban private equity from buying residential homes. Great, that's a great policy, right? But as the head of HHS, I massively disagree with him, and I think that getting.
But you seem to be saying like so what? I don't know. That's a weird choice of words if that's what you wanted to communicate. But all right.
Rid of vaccines is a very problematic and not a cultural war issue.
But that's what he's being put into office to do. That's what he's being appointed to do. So, like, what mechanism constrains him if not stopping him from getting into office?
Very real.
Getting appointed.
That affects people's actual lives. And when vaccines are blocked, there was a story out of Pakistan. They thought it was like an American trick. And then,
I mean, you could also just bring up the time that RFK Jr. personally helped kill like 80 some people due to his advocacy against vaccines. Over half of whom were children. I think like 60 of them were children. Like you could just bring that up. Bring up the time RFK Jr. personally helped do that.
And then they blocked the polio vaccine and polio spread. And they were like, no, sorry, come back, right? So,
by the way, RFK Jr.'s right-hand guy wants to block the polio vaccine.
That's what I mean by so what. So what? Let's fight him on it. Like, there's no. See, that's part.
How? That's the thing. Like, it's very easy to say, let's fight them. What meaningful action can people take to fight in that particular way? What, are you going to protest outside of Bobby Kennedy's office? He's insane. He's a true believer.
Partly what's wrong here, which is that
we don't even need to bring up the bear. He fucking beheaded a whale. He found a beached whale that was dead with his family in the car, beheaded it, put the head on top of his car while it was leaking its blood and fluids into the car on his children who were there, and then drove it home. That's according to the memoir of one of his kids. He had them all wear plastic bags over their heads with holes crudely cut in them so that they could breathe. RFK Jr. is being investigated for collecting a dead whale. Yep. Kennedy's daughter recalled the whale incident in a 2012 interview with Town and Country magazine, which recently resurfaced and was shared extensively on social media. Kathleen Kennedy said she was 6 years old. When she was 6 years old, her dad got word that a dead whale had washed ashore. He got a chainsaw, cut off the whale's head, and strapped it to the roof of their minivan for a 5-hour drive home. Every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out. People on the highway were giving us the finger, but that was just normal day-to-day stuff for us. Yep. So yeah, we'll fight that guy who's that crazy. Whale juice.
Them, us. And so if they're in the them, then we hate everything about them, right? And what I'm saying is, no, we don't have to hate everything about them. All we have to say is, so I don't agree with Bobby Kennedy on vaccines. So let's go, let's fight him and show that he's wrong, right?
Sure.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
That's all right. I'm willing to give you that. As we wrap, I do want to ask, do you think about how what you're doing reflects on
nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys? What?
TYT as a whole or on individual hosts at all? I personally feel implicated by a strategy that I do disagree with. Or do you think, well, I'm doing the right thing, so everything I do should reflect beautifully on everyone who works at TYT?
Greaves Undergrad.
This also means he keeps a chainsaw in his car.
True, Greaves. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Who knows what else he's hacked up with that chainsaw?
See, this is a way of getting me, like, saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds. You're implicating me in a strategy I don't agree with. Well, but what am I supposed to do? Not do the strategy I believe in because it might implicate people on the network?
I think I'm asking for empathy. I'm just asking for empathy, Cenk. It's just being a little
I have been
empathetic.
doing odds and ends over here while listening, but I just had to say that Cenk has been particularly insufferable.
Oh yeah, no, he's like gone off the crazy end. Like he's in the deep water with not able to touch the bottom. Floundering, dog. Like Francesca over here is asking him, like, do you understand the position you're putting your employees in? And he's just like, nah, how dare you imply I'm putting them in any kind of position? How dare you? You're wrong and evil.
No, I don't think that's about empathy. I think what you guys are asking for, and this is why I'm not on the far left, is you're saying, since we don't agree with your strategy and your strategy implicates us, if you were empathetic and a good person, you wouldn't do your strategy.
It's just asking if you understand the position you're putting them in.
And I don't agree. I think my strategy is way better and will protect all of us much better. And so I'm not going to purposely do the wrong strategy because it implicates people on the far left. If you say, hey, I'm so implicated, I'm going to leave. This is unconscionable to me, as some did, great. I got no problems with it. Everybody makes their own choices, but I'm not pushing anybody out. You get this, everybody gets to stay, everybody gets to have their own.
I'm not pushing anyone out except through my behavior and words. I couldn't possibly be pushing anyone out except through my words and deeds.
Opinion. They get to have it passionately. They get to fight me on it. They get to fight everyone on it. They get to make their case. I can't do any better than being super open-minded and allowing everybody to make their case.
You're not really open-minded, though, are you? Like, you're yelling without really understanding or backing up your points. You're just like, I disagree with trans girls in sports. I do, unless if they're in high school, it's fine because who cares about fairness in high school sports? But if they're in college, then no. And I have to be honest with you, by the way. Like, I know he views it as a real nitpicky kind of thing, but like, if you're gonna say, well, like, who cares if you came in first or second in your high school track meet? Well, some people who rely on scholarships care. You know, like there is like there is a point at which it actually matters, right? And to that end, you need to understand the actual athletic science behind like trans participation in sports, which indicates that after 1 to 2 years on HRT, like any kind of advantage one might have from like a male puberty dissipates and is gone. And it depends, 1 year, maybe 2 years, that's the main debate. But if you're on puberty blockers, that changes the entire debate. But the issue is he doesn't believe that children should be able to access that type of medical care, which flies in the face of every reputable medical institution in the United States. And his explanation, as far as I can tell from the times he's talked about it, is I think that's bad. I think that's that shouldn't be allowed. They're too young to decide. And like, that's kind of the issue, right? Like, the underlying issue is that you aren't able to back up your opinions, and you just think like, oh, well, the kids are dumb, so they couldn't possibly make a choice about their health care. And that's not backed up by the science at all, buddy. And so, like, the issue is his opinions are bad. And he can't back them up. And then he can't take the criticism that comes with that. So, he's not super open-minded when he is not listening to the people who are criticizing him or asking him to listen to the criticism. Because the criticism is coming from a place of trying to help him understand why his positions are wrong, and he just doesn't want to listen to them, which is kind of the opposite of being open-minded. You got to engage with the criticism outside of blustering anger.
You say, Cenk, you shouldn't make your case because some of us feel implicated by it. Well, that's your problem, not my problem.
Sure, Taus and Alexo, like, sure, we should also take a step back and ask why scholarships are even necessary to begin with. I agree with you there. I think college should be free. But if we're not going to get that, then like I think that like scholarship that applies to women should apply to trans women and trans girls, and scholarships that apply to men should be applicable to trans men and trans boys. You know, like that seems to be like a logical thing to me. But conservatives and people with Cenk's opinion like go ballistic at that very idea. Ugh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, about that, I'm reminded of the book by I think his name is Michael Schneider on tyranny, and he wrote.
Yeah, just the idea that kids are going and getting hormones, exactly, not equipped. The kids are getting hormones, drugs, surgeries willy-nilly without an entire medical team and parental supervision is absolute bullshit. It's true. Like, maybe you could find one case of that happening, like without like one underage kid without parental supervision slipped through the cracks, managed to get hormones and hormone blockers and drugs, and managed to get bottom surgery without any kind of oversight, and like it was just one unethical doctor. But like, that's a very freak scenario, in the same way that like a doctor, like, I don't know, during a transplant leaves a sponge inside of you. Like, that's a freak scenario. It's not the usual course of events, and pretending that the freak scenario is the norm is rooted in transphobia.
Wrote, it's like 20 lessons from the 20th century about authoritarianism and fascism. And one of the
Also, I've been reading on Tyranny, and Timothy Snyder. Very good book. Highly recommend. It also comes in graphic novel form if you're into stuff like that, and it's very good. I highly recommend. Excellent read. And I think a very fitting one for the times we have ahead.
things that just come to mind when you say,
Which, by the way, I have a playlist going over each lesson of Timothy Snyder's on Tyranny. We do need to finish that up, so at some point in the near future, we'll keep going through that. But yeah, it's very good, and he has an accompanying lecture series that we've been going through on the YouTube channel. So like, comment, and subscribe.
say my strategy will protect us, is he has this chapter, I'm going to bring it up, the first part of it, called Do Not Obey in Advance. And he writes, most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. In other words, you don't have to do the sort of crackdown on the left around speech, because I'm going to do it for you, or you don't have to
But
come
I'm not
to me.
cracking down. Again, you're misstating it. I'm doing the exact opposite. You're cracking down by saying, Cenk, you're out of bounds, so you should stop
I
with
didn't.
your stupid opinion.
So
and
do
because
you
you're implicating me.
Dude,
I feel like
go
there's
on,
a
let's be
real
honest, that's what you're saying.
Cenk. I feel like there's
the
a
chip on his shoulder is like Empire State Building size. Jesus Christ, brah.
real misunderstanding of power in your mind, and I don't know why.
I think you're hiding behind this power dynamic.
No. I'm being totally honest. I am a contributor.
Like she's trying to, I think she's genuinely trying to be sincere here and like meet him with honesty and respect. And like, he's having none of it. He's not even willing to hear her out.
It's TYT that I go on every time you guys ask. I step in a pinch often. Sometimes I don't.
You do.
I've been asked less and less as of late. Jordan has sort of eclipsed me. It's fine. I don't give a shit. But like I am but a mere contributor. I make very little money from this show. I'm really grateful to the people who support it. I like, again, you have founded the TYT. You've been the head of TYT. You're one of like a stalwart in broader progressive left of center media discussions. Like, what you do is far more impactful than what I do. I'm just being honest with you. Like,
Okay.
you have a huge footprint. You have
And it's a good thing I have the right strategy.
What a belligerent ass. An incorrect belligerent ass.
And when you go on shows, and you go on stages, again with
Wait, I may be wrong, but isn't transition like puberty? Isn't the person's body dealing with changes that don't make you particularly graceful or coordinated? I couldn't do anything physically outstanding. Basically, the entire point of puberty blockers is to buy you time until you're ready to either stop doing puberty blockers and your body begins the puberty process, or you start taking HRT and your body begins the puberty process. You know, you nailed it there. You got it.
Charlie Kirk, it looks like an apology tour. You
Oh, you're wrong
implicate
about it.
you implicate not just everyone who's worked with you and everyone who is ostensibly on your side, but it basically makes it seem like it cheapens everything that we've done and we've built. That's why
She's right. This argument is right. Because as somebody who's not TYT, my perception of Cenk's particular strategy is selling out all of his core beliefs in order to get a crumb of respect from the right. That's it. Like it cheapens everything that every single person has done at TYT.
I can't sleep at night. That's why I feel sick when I see you on these shows. Like, I'm just being, I mean, I guess I'm nuts. I guess I'm totally crazy and I should just trust you and say, yes, we need you're doing the right thing. You're protecting us.
No, you don't have
but
to say
all
that.
I am doing is I'm filled with absolute despondency, like truly. And I can't believe that a guy who I used to admire and who I thought had a lot of fight is trying to scratch the back of people who absolutely would never do the same for them.
So we just spent an hour and a half me explaining how I'm not scratching their back. I'm trying to get
but I can show
their
you more
populists
clips,
to agree
man.
with us on things we believe in, and we've always believed it.
They aren't going to agree with you. That's the issue. Your attempt to find that agreement looks an awful lot like groveling, kowtowing bullshit. It looks like you're just getting on the ground, washing their feet as they laugh at you and spit on you and make fun of you to your face, and then you just look up at them and laugh. I just watched the other day, It's a Wonderful Life. And there's a scene in there where Mr. Gower, the pharmacist in Bedford Falls, is like this washed up drunk of a man, and he wanders into a bar and he gets sprayed in the face, and he's soaking wet in the middle of a freezing winter, and everyone laughs at him. And then he looks up at everyone else and just starts laughing along with them. Because he's not even aware of what the joke is. And it's a devastating moment. It is a devastating, horrific moment that indicates how broken this town and this community has become. And that is what I see when I see Cenk Uygur go on stage with Charlie Kirk and laugh along with a cheering crowd that is very clearly cheering because the ideology he represents has been defeated, at least in their mind. So I don't know. It's pretty pathetic. It's pretty sad. And he's made this misstep, and he's been embarrassed in this way, and he doesn't even know it yet. It's like it's like Fist of the North Star. He's dead, and he just doesn't know it.
And you go back to scratching their back.
At least the trains will run on time.
No. So let's end on this because this is monumentally.
Trains will run on time.
So
good jab.
I say everybody's allowed to have their opinion. You say when I have my opinion, I'm hurting other people. But do you hold on?
You're hurting a broader movement, yeah.
Hold on. Do you not get that privileges your position and says my position?
Akumi 10 out of 10. Ome wa mo grifteru.
Is obviously the correct one and the moral one. And since you have the incorrect immoral one, you are implicating me in your immorality and your wrongness. So
her argument isn't predicated on you being immoral. Her argument is predicated on you being incorrect, which is different. It's incorrect and unhelpful to the broader movement because your analysis is so gone. He's viewing this as like an attack on his moral character when it's an attack on the positions he has that are not based in fact. oh, I don't get that train thing. At least the trains will run on time is a reference to fascist Italy, where Mussolini came into power pledging that the trains would run on time. So, yeah. Mussolini, noted fascist, pledged that the trains would run on time, and then the entire country devolved into insanity. And oddly enough, the trains did not run on time.
So you really shouldn't do that, because that's being immoral to me and other people who agree with me, because since you're so obviously wrong and immoral about this, you're implicating me in your immorality.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's what I'm saying.
It is definitely the correct position.
I'm saying
Man, imagine getting owned by a Spider-Man quote, dog.
Great power comes great responsibility. I'm giving you.
I'm so accepting, but you've gone off the reservation and you've gone rogue, Cenk.
Oh man, just by the way, just as a side note, don't use that phrase. Don't use the phrase going off the reservation. It's pretty deeply rooted in racism. Don't use it. Just avoid that one. Like, Cenk's a bit older. He might not know that. The same way, like, for most of my life, my parents didn't know the G slur for the Romani people was unacceptable.
So now it is your fault for implicating.
Oh, Jazz Dog, I'm sorry your throat's hurting.
Who clearly have the correct position, but
I really
don't have the correct position.
And you
don't represent the left. So please.
Yeah, the reservation that going off the reservation is saying is a reference to the reservations America forced Native Americans onto, and then when an indigenous person left the reservation, it was viewed as a trespass against white society. Yeah, not great.
Please stop pretending you represent the left when the voting and the polling clearly showed you don't. And it's not wrong to be center left. You think that it's like center left is like, no, it's, I don't know what you think it is, MAGA.
I don't know, like center left could describe a broad range of politicians that Cenk has railed against in this very conversation and in countless others in the past.
Or whatever, but you want to talk about the power
I said it's
dynamic.
Bill Maher and Nancy Pelosi having a baby, Cenk. I think ultimately you just need to embrace your centrism, my guy. I think you're just more of a centrist than you think.
Like I just explained it, but you don't want to hear it. I said it earlier, Franny. I'm not talking about the disgusting centrism of Manchin.
Can we add it to the same pile as leaving the Democratic plantation? Yes, we can.
And all of that the mainstream media lied to us and called centrism. That's radical.
What's wrong with Manchin? Manchin works with both sides. He's a perfect.
I mean, this is a great example. Like, how is what Cenk is doing here different than like Joe Manchin? Outside of like maybe I guess he's doing it from a place of principle rather than a place of being paid by coal lobbyists.
Perfect example of what you're doing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Manchin is the establishment. The fact that you can't see the difference between a left-wing...
I don't know. If you're doing the exact same actions as Joe Manchin, kind of seems like your reasoning for doing it is relatively immaterial since both actions are unhelpful.
Populist who despises the establishment.
Who's a right-wing populist?
Who loves...
Oh, God. Oh, God, no. No. Not like this. Okay. All right. There we go.
You're so obviously wrong anymore. Saints, and they don't agree with us.
Who's a right-wing populist in office? Who's a administration?
Right-wing populist.
Vinny on populist.
You can't see that difference.
He's a perfect example of what you're doing.
That's exactly.
Holy shit, I'm so glad I found that in like 3 seconds. Damn, I'm good. But I will say that like Joe Manchin is a perfect example of what she's talking about. Like, you want to work with the right in order to find this common ground. So does Joe Manchin. You might want to do it from a place of principle, and Joe Manchin might want to do it from a place of coal robber baron money, but like At the end of the day, you're both doing the same thing. Oh yeah, the name of her show, The Bituation Room, is great.
What I'm talking about, imagine, is the establishment. The fact that you can't
And honestly, very good for a reference to Cenk Uygur.
see the difference between a left-wing populist who despises the establishment
Who's a
and
right-wing
Manchin
populist?
who loves and is the establishment.
Who's a
The
right-wing
fact that you can't
populist?
see that difference is stunning.
Who's a
It
right-wing
shows your
populist?
blindness.
Who is a right-wing populist? Name him. Who's a right-wing
Vinny
populist?
On Patrick Bet-David show is definitely a right-wing populist.
Oh yeah, everyone knows Vinny from the Patrick Bet-David show. Yeah, that guy. um, can I get a picture of Vinny? Can I get a picture of Vinny from what's his face? Yes, I found him. I found a picture of Vinny from the Patrick Bet-David show. All right. Look, everyone, here he is. Here's Vinny from the Patrick Bet-David show. You're all familiar with Vinny, right? Yeah, this is Vinny from the Patrick Bet-David show. Just kidding. That was Dave Landau, former co-host for for Steven Crowder. You fools, you swine! You didn't even know who Vinny from Patrick Bet-David's show was, did you? Did you? That was Steven Crowder's gremlin. We're talking about Patrick Bet-David's gremlin. You fools!
Dan Holloway on Drinking Bros is definitely a right-wing populist.
Okay, can I just tell you something? I cover politics full time, right? That's my job. My job is to know who these people are, what these shows are. Oh, you are correct, Banana Brains. Turn them back on. My job is to know these shows. I have no idea which one on Patrick Bet-David's show is Vinny. And I also have no idea what the Drinking Bros show is. I've never heard of that one. I've heard of Critical Drinker, but I don't know what show or who he's talking about. He's talking about no-name goons.
Vinny on PBD thinks that the Biden administration blew up the bridge in Baltimore.
Oh my
He
god.
does. That's right. Because they're not saints, and they don't agree with us.
They're not saints, and they are full of shit, and they don't mean what they say. Come on, you've been arguing this entire time that these people are earnest believers in populism, and they're not, because they're full of shit, demonstrably.
Who's a right-wing populist in office? Who's a right-wing? Is it Matt Gaetz? Who's your right-wing populist in office? Is it Marjorie
Now,
Greene?
the
Oh
new,
God, is it
the new
Matt
right-wing
Gaetz?
populist is absolutely clear. And see, guys,
God.
before I say the name, I know what's going to happen after I say the name. You're going to think of all the bad things he
it
said
Matt
about
Gaetz?
social issues, and you're going to think, "Oh my God, Cenk likes this guy. That's
it
why I
Matt
now hate
Gaetz?
Cenk." So
Oh God, is he gonna say that he Matt Gaetz? No.
I'm telling you ahead of me telling you the name. No, I do not agree with him on the social and cultural issues, and I will fight him as hard as I possibly can on those. And I don't think that he's right on all the economic issues at all. But he has begun to be populist because he stopped taking corporate PAC money. Josh Hawley in the Senate.
Okay. That's not as bad as I thought it could be, but that's still Josh Hawley's like famous for this particular photo, which is him encouraging people on January 6th, right before they invaded and assaulted the Capitol. So it could have been worse, but it's still pretty bad. Also, does Josh Hawley corporate donors? Oh, actually, we got top corporate donors. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this up on screen here. I don't think that's correct, Cenk. Sorry, he doesn't take the corporate PAC money. He just takes $50,000 from Smead Capital Management, $50,000 from Indec Energy Services, $39,000 from Peck Enterprises, $32,000 from Durham Co., $30,000 from Ozarks Coca-Cola Bottling, Prime Inc., $28,000. AGC Partners, $23,000. Warren David Properties, $23,000. Wilson Logistics, $23,000. Central States Industrial Equipment, $23,000. Erdhart Properties, $21,000. Northwest Mutual, $20,000. Holland Law Firm, Missouri, $20,000. Leggett and Platt, $19,000. Diamond Pet Foods, $19,000. Veterans United Home Loans, $19,000. G.J. Grew, what a mouthful there, $18,000. Opco Health, $17,000. Fisher Realty, $16,000. Bellhart Schmidt, $16,000. Yeah, totally free from corporate attachments, this guy. Definitely populist in nature. Definitely a man of the people, truly slumming it with the grassroots of society. Yeah, that guy's a right-wing populist.
That is now a right-wing populist. Tom Massey, a right-wing populist. Okay, those guys, Massey. You could say 1,000 terrible
Thomas Massey
things about him, but he is honest. Everybody knows he's honest. He's honest to a fault, right? He says some things I'm like, whoa, that's freaking crazy, right? But are they actual right-wing populists? Yes, they are. And the number one way you could tell if someone's going to be a populist is if they stop taking corporate PAC money.
Okay, I accept that. I accept that. I just want to say, lastly, I worry about our relationship because, I mean, I don't have to, like, we may grow distant, you know what I mean? I'm trying to delve more into my show. I still love going on John's show and Dr. Richie's show. That's in the TYT network. This show is on the podcast network of TYT. There's no money that really exchanges hands. You guys do help me with the.
Also, Thomas Massey gets corporate PAC money. He's gotten $214,000. 16% of his money comes from PACs, and he's had 64% of his campaign contributions come from large individual donors. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Absolute insanity.
The podcast hosting, so I appreciate that. So I may.
What's PAC money? It's basically a way where you can funnel infinite money into a political campaign. How is that different from non-donations? It's harder to track. PACs don't have to disclose who donated to the PACs, I believe. So the PACs are basically a way for corporations to funnel large amounts of money with no tracing back to them. Yeah. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah.
They owe y'all money. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just being honest. Like,
you don't know anybody.
But you know what I mean? I'm being honest about what our arrangement is.
Yeah.
But I worry because.
Do you think populists are really men of the people? Populist leaders, Hitler, Mussolini, Milosevic, Orban, Putin, Trump? I think that if you are left-wing, you can embrace populist reforms like Medicare for all, for example. You know, like I think that populist individuals can be men of the people. However, when you're talking about conservative, right-wing populism, that is always a lie. Because conservatives want to funnel money to the rich. They want to funnel money to the wealthiest people in society. So, like, when we're talking about the left actually wants reforms to our systems that would benefit everyone, you know? That's like, maybe FDR could be considered a populist reformer. Largely because he was forced into it by the rising socialist movement of his day, but, like, you know, largely the way he wielded power was to the benefit of the working class. Bernie Sanders is not a populist. He protested for human rights when it carried risk of getting shot by the National Guard. Well, a populist reform, and I would argue human rights are populist in nature, doesn't necessarily mean that power is in favor of that reform. Power is not necessarily in favor of human rights. Power is not necessarily in favor of distributing tax wealth equitably across society for the purposes of, like, Medicare for all, etc. So things that are populist can still be opposed by power, even to the point of, like, killing people who are in favor of them. So, like, yeah, I frankly, I think that Donald Trump, I think that Cenk Uygur is very much, Freudian slip there, misusing the term populism and authoritarianism. Yeah, populism isn't good by default. It's not like good things are populist and bad things are anti-populist. Like Gamer G said, populism can be bad. You know? None of the people that Cenk Uygur just listed are populists. They aren't in favor of reforms. They just don't take corporate PAC money. And when you say that, like, that's really stretching the definition, especially when you can log on to Open Secrets and see that all of them take corporate money.
You know, we were but 5 minutes into this conversation, and you said Emma Vigeland likes the establishment, and it doesn't matter what she said. Hang on.
She said it. Yeah, because she was advocating for people to vote for Kamala Harris. You also advocated for people to vote for Kamala Harris, Cenk.
It's not about what she said.
Oh yeah, Josh Hawley is evil as shit. That's my point, though. Populism is sort of a Democratic Republic of Korea thing, a deliberate misnomer. You as a populist pander to those with social power, not the actual population. I could get on board with that. It's typically why I frame things not in populism terms, but instead when I talk about what benefits the working class. I think having an actual, like, ideological framework that is rooted in, like, a foundation, like, for example, socialism, Marxism, the labor theory of value. I think that helps to make sure that your opinions are actually grounded in something and can't be suckered into whatever it is Cenk Uyghur's been suckered into here. This is a whole box of worms that ain't no one got time to unravel, but we're doing our best to do it right here anyway.
But it is concerning that there are so many former TYT employees, and let's put Doran Rubin aside, but people like Ben Dixon and Emma Vigeland, and even longtime contributors who were editors, like Hank. I remember Hank, and, like, the fact that, he helped start the TYT union and now has obviously
nothing.
Okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such.
Oh, dude, winners and losers. I was just about to ask, do you know Hank? If you're still around. That's you. Well, Hank, I hear you're such a great guy. And Cenk really seems to fucking hate you. Holy shit.
I'm just saying, I'm telling you, these are, but okay, I'm afraid, man. Like, I'm next. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do that I'm booted out.
As Hank, I can officially confirm that Hank is great.
the castle, and suddenly it's us versus them, and they're so. What does it say?
Wait, if Hank is a great guy, does that mean Cenk is evil Hank? Really makes you think. Hank versus Cenk.
About TYT? What does it say about you? That there's so many former employees who are on our side ostensibly, who you have so much disdain for.
So, Franny,
Narrated by
you're
Mank.
next, and I have this secret nefarious plan to push people out. Why am I on?
Wait, your film, your documentary is narrated by Ben Mankiewicz? I didn't know that Ben Mankiewicz had a falling out with TYT too. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I was just about to say like, huh, all right. Seriously, very weird to see him react like that. The whole ordeal is incredibly intense. Yeah, this is a weird thing.
On here? Why would I come on here and talk to you for now nearly 2 hours when if I'm planning to push you, that doesn't make any sense. So number two, some people have left the network, and don't exclude Dora and Ruben, because Dora and Ruben and some others they went right, but some others went left or far left or whatever.
Hey, little
But
Morphine
some
Annie.
group of them have the same agenda. Come watch me, come subscribe to me, not the Young Turks. I'm the morally pure one. I'm the right one. I'm the one that's right, and they're all evil and terrible. And don't give them money. Give me money, right? So let's keep it real. So is that everybody? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. So a good example is Mondale Robinson. I like Mondale, and he has the similar ideological problem as you do, and he decided one day that's it.
Similar ideological problem. It's incredible how he is willing to play patty cake with folks like Charlie Kirk, but the second someone in his orbit disagrees with him, he goes for like gut punches. It's really, I don't know, it's really gross. I think it indicates a man who's pretty hollow on the inside.
That's it, I'm quitting, right?
Yeah.
And so, but bless his heart, that's what God made doors for. Okay, so, and now he's attacking me and saying I'm in league with racists and stuff like that. Okay, that's his opinion, right? But when people cross a line like Ruben and Dor and Sam Cedar, etc., and others, and they say, "Oh, Jake's just has this evil plan, and he's doing it for money, and he's a grifter, and he works with the CIA, or he works with this guy or that guy." Well, okay, now you're lying. And you're lying in like extreme ways.
What did Sam Cedar do? Sam Cedar criticized their weird embrace of far right propagandists. Frank, oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare.
So like this whole thing of like Sam, for example, analogized me to a Nazi, but he's done 1,000 things. That's just one of them. And then when I go, hey, hold on, when I say cut that crap out. And they're like, "Oh, we're the victims." Oh, wait, I just said you were a grifter and that you're lying to people and you're cheating people. And I said you might be a Nazi.
Oh no, Sam Cedar! Wow, what a fucking nightmare!
But I'm the innocent one. I can't believe Cenk counterattacked after I punched him in the face 20 times. I can't believe a poor little angel.
But he believes in saving Social Security and cutting the Pentagon. So,
cunting the Pentagon.
Can you give him credit for that and work with him?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course, I can give him credit for that. I just would never talk to him because I would with him and I, it's slay on sight. Like, what are you doing?
So, I mean, if Sam's going to vote to save the Social Security and not cut Social Security, I'm not the guy who says, I don't want his vote, right? I just don't have to go on his stupid show and agree with.
You're willing to go on conservatives' stupid shows, though. Like, you understand the weird and bizarre double standard you're weaving here. Like, conservatives can be outright white supremacists who are pushing like anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, or who believe that like the US government is collapsing bridges on purpose, and like you're still willing to go on their shows. But when it comes to Sam Cedar, you're just like, no, he's disgusting. He's worse than all of them. And it's like, well, you agree on, dare I say, 95% of issues? You know, and suddenly you're writing him off because he disagrees on 5%. Sounds pretty authoritarian left of you. Dare I say, maximum left of you, Cenk. It doesn't mean anything. What a stupid phrase. He's trying to make fetch happen, guys.
With his stupid ideas.
Okay, but you just, again, stupid. Again, these are words that you
Franny,
reserve.
Okay,
Why do you?
Franny, if I called you a Nazi and I said you're a right winger and you're secretly taking money from Pelosi and Charlie Kirk, then hey, and you said hey, and you got angry with me, wouldn't that be a rational reaction?
I think there's been a conflation with.
Reaction be, oh, I love Cenk. I love that he called me a Nazi. I can't wait to.
Oh, the Majority Report used to be on the TYT network too. How are all these shows on the TYT network? And I've literally never heard of this association. It's crazy.
Work with him. No, he's a freaking grifter. That's all he's ever done. He literally told me that he was trying to take Jimmy Dore's audience because Jimmy's was bigger.
Good.
So he wanted to.
You remember what Jimmy Dore did to me? You remember the reason Jimmy Dore.
Like, yeah, people should take Jimmy Dore's audience. His audience would be better off in listening to literally any other person who's nominally on the left. Yeah, like what's the grift? What's Sam Cedar lying about? Oh, he wants an audience. He wants the audience of someone who is perceived as a completely inarticulate dipshit to come watch him instead because they'd be much better off and better informed. Oh, what a grifter.
The reason Jimmy Dore was out the door was in part what he did to me, and you and I talked about that at the time. It was when he had to finally face the fucking music and be like, hey, you cannot bully another not employee but a contributor.
Franny? I stood up for you, right?
You did.
I stood up for you, but not that Sam Cedar, that grifter.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Ignore the name of our studio.
It had to get bad, but you did. He had also been, he had been going the way of the dodo for a long time, but I just want to say, like, so it doesn't say anything about TYT, that there are these former employees who really, and I just want to, back to the last thing I'm going to say is, people really liked you. They really did. And they looked up to you. And they thought of you as a comrade, a boss, a co-conspirator.
I appreciate
in this
you, winners and losers.
Political project to really change this.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing your finished film.
Country to make it more democratic, and it really is. I have to say, like, there's a thin line between love and hate, and even these channels that are hell bent on being like Cenk's this, Cenk's that. You know what? They were all massive Cenk fans. I think we all are a little bit. And so I just want to say, like, it is sad to us to see you honestly act like very small when in fact you could be a lot bigger.
So Franny, I think you're being unbelievably unfair. So you're taking 6 people, 4 of whom are like clearly doing it for money, okay? And
citation needed.
Clearly doing it for attention. And
I'm not taking anyone. I'm asking you a question.
You accuse me of incredibly unfair things. Can you allow me to respond? Franny, you know the people inside TYT, they work here 15 years, 17 years, 20 years.
Like, yeah, and you know what? Those people had a lot of respect for you, man. And you flushed it all down the toilet in a matter of, like, months. It's crazy.
17 years, and they love working at TYT. And what these assholes are doing is pretending that we're bad bosses and we're bad to our employees and we're bad to everyone that works at.
Then why did you stop a union from forming, man? Like, why? We're not bad bosses. Okay, then let there be a union. we're not bad bosses, then why are you afraid of employee pushback? We're not bad bosses, but man, this guy who criticized me is my mortal enemy for life.
The TYT, and we do all these things and we push them out. Bullshit. Every one of those people left and they said, oh, I'm going to be bigger and better than you. And then they viciously attacked not just me, but everyone that works at TYT.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
I don't know, man. Something tells me you may have sold out the principles that a lot of people joined you for.
Edwin and Bart and all those guys have been there for so long. We gave people 12 weeks of paid family leave when no one else was doing it. And we did it for moms, we did it for dads.
Then you should have been pretty fine with a union forming. You know, like if you're doing so well by your employees, then clearly a union could form and you wouldn't have to change a goddamn thing, right? I wonder. I wonder. There's a part of me that wonders what's going on here. It seems like something else is at work. My Substack has the receipts showing that Cenk had me classified as part-time while I worked 40-hour weeks for zero benefits. I wonder where all of the value of that labor went. I wonder what happened when he ran out of that money.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I can go on and on. Franny, to make it seem like I'm pushing...
Wait, could I possibly be insinuating that gambling on that leftist, I don't know, that maybe news coverage and people who make the news probably shouldn't be shilling for an online gambling site that is about gambling on the outcome of news stories? Who can say?
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
People out and that I'm the bad guy here, when in fact, you know for a fact that 98% of the people that work at TYT love TYT and try to stay there forever and ever and ever. Sometimes they'll go to a different company and go, whoa, holy shit, that's bad, and come back to TYT. So please be fair and honest with your audience, because working at TYT...
Is Polymarket banned in the US? As far as I know, currently, yes.
He has been amazing for those people. And all we're getting is smeared by a couple of people who...
We are perfect and pristine, and no one has ever had any valid issues against us. Why would you... What do you mean? Why do you need to unionize? Please, stop. Stop. No union allowed.
Literally say, we want to tear down the network. We got 75 people here that we have to provide for. And they're trying to take food off their table because me. I'm going to tear down the left-wing network.
Dude, the only one tearing down this network is you. Full stop. The only one embarrassing themselves and selling out all of that hard labor is Cenk and Anna. He's corn cobbing, man. I worked as an independent contractor for the vast majority of my time working in game journalism. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. You know, zero benefits. And now that I think about it, I also work as an independent contractor as a streamer, but so please continue to support the stream. However, this is really sad. Because now he's framing any criticism of his positions as an attack against the entire TYT network. And I think that is deeply unfair, and frankly, I think it is deeply cowardly.
Why don't you spend your time, those people that I'm talking about, tearing down the right wing, tearing down Trump, tearing down all these people, instead of sitting there and going, oh, someone on the left is bigger than me, I'm going to tear them down. And that's what they're doing.
I think it's a really sore subject, but I did just want to ask, I think yesterday on Mark Lamont Hill's show, you did say that, that what your strategy has actually cost you and cost TYT some subscribers, and members more.
That's okay. Why would they need subscribers and members?
Live from the Poly Market Studio in LA.
They don't need those.
Importantly, who financially support the show. Speaking of putting food on 75 people's table, what is your reaction to that? I know.
Yo, Michael Reich, thank you very much for the
Stream support.
1578. I appreciate that. Thank you so goddamn much. Helping me to keep on keeping on.
Anecdotally, there are people who love and support my show, even though I truly don't talk about my disagreements with you.
Oh, man,
And
it seems like she's about
God,
to cry.
Cenk, I've worked.
This is hard.
I've been over backwards. The reason my show's at 1 p.m. is because it's right before you, right in between when TYT doesn't have any show. You know, I've bent over very backwards to accommodate TYT. But there are people who love my show who say, you know, I had to stop supporting TYT for a lot of political disagreements. And what do you say to those people, or how does that make you feel?
I refuse.
I mean, I feel like his general stance is pretty clear, which is fuck him. That's his position. He says fuck him.
Live from the Poly Market Studio in LA.
That's it.
To be wrong on purpose. So we lost a lot of members and paying subscribers when I started criticizing Obama from the left. And I said he shouldn't be drilling in the Gulf, and he shouldn't be bailing out the bankers without any consequences, etc. And people were out.
Yeah, but people are leaving for a very different reason now. Like, people are leaving now not because you took a correct position that was correct then and is correct now. They're leaving now because you've taken an incorrect position and are doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down for no perceivable benefit in a way that you cannot articulate, and frankly, in a way that feels capitulatory. They think you've given up. You're kissing the ring. You're licking the boot. People aren't here to see you lick the boot, man. People don't believe in licking the boot. They believe in freedom. They believe in a fight. I see that in my community. I don't know why you can't see it in yours.
Outraged. But I didn't do it because I didn't know the term back then, but I know it now. It's called audience capture, and I'm not going to do it. So if you say at the time, people were like, no, be pro-Obama.
Yeah, but bro, sometimes your audience is right. Sometimes you're wrong. It's the face of someone who realizes somebody they once respected is too far gone to be reached, and it's heartbreaking. It really is.
Pro-Obama. I'm like, no, I'm not going to lie to you on purpose. And now some folks are saying, no, tell us the far left is totally right, and then that like there is no crime, and on and on and on, right? No, I'm not going to be purposely wrong. And so I'm not going to do audience capture, and I'm not going to say that. And so how could I be a grifter and say at the same time, I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of money that I'm super worried about for all of us at TYT to do the right.
Oh, sponsor capture is absolutely a thing that can happen, warped Bobby, but so is audience capture. These are two different things. Some shows rely on sponsorship money in order to get by, and other shows rely on viewer support to get by. And just two different models, really. And both have their own dangers.
That's the exact opposite of grifting. That's
right. No one has ever said, sorry, I got distracted by chat.
And so how could I be a grifter and say at the same time, I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of money that I'm super worried about for all of us at TYT to do the right thing? That's the exact opposite of grifting. That's saying I'm standing on principle. I'm standing on what I think is the real viewers of TYT and representing them. And Franny, what you're not seeing is there's so many people on the left who are.
Oh, so you're not subject to audience capture, but you're standing with the main body of your audience? That seems counterintuitive, man.
Afraid to state their real opinions because they're going to get shellacked online. All the far left is going to come out and call them a right winger and a fascist, etc.
Then guess what? Their opinions were worth shit. If you change your entire political outlook because people were mean to you instead of because you have evidence-backed positions, I don't know what to say to you. You never believed the thing in the first place. You know, like, I believe the things I believe and advocate for the things I advocate for because my goal is to help the most people possible. To help people who, you know, are unhoused, to help people who are starving, to help people who are, you know, unable to get clean water, to help people who, you know, need medical care, and to help people who need additional assistance in order to live in the world we live in, and to maximize the amount of agency and happiness people have. And like those are my priorities. And I back up all of my policy prescriptions with evidence, with facts, with a basis in understanding opposition. And like the reason I support democratic worker co-ops is not because they're like
There is a
because
third
the left
option
told
which
me
you have
to.
forgotten, Jack. Support by Grigor for having high-level ideas. I have a swimming pool in David Rubin's house named after me.
Whoa, Grigor Niet Russian. Thank you very much for the $5 dono. I appreciate it. Maybe one day I can see the Dave Rubin swimming pool house. Thank you so much. Duh. God. Ja. But it really does kind of boil down to that, right? Like, I have evidence for my positions. And it's not because people yelled at me. It's not because any of that. It's because, frankly, I value other people's happiness, and I think that the way to get that is by having democracy in the workplace, by providing for the material needs people have in a modern society, and pushing to get that by the means available to us to make a kinder world, a more equitable world, a world in which your labor is your own and you are able to live and thrive regardless of what you choose to do. And I have no idea what Cenk Uygur believes or what he's advocating for, because frankly, I don't think he's rooted in any kind of ideological position. So, yeah.
They're so scared to actually state their own opinions because the far left has so much more power than they realize in terms of the social media ecosystem.
Sure,
right?
I agree. And I do
so-
think that it would benefit all of us to be a little bit less online, because I do think there is a real left. They are in labor unions. They work
Yes.
in homes. They, they are.
Oh man, don't bring up labor unions. He might go ballistic.
Are serving people Starbucks, right? Like there are real leftists.
Yes.
They are, let's be real, they are on the streets demonstrating for Palestinian human rights. They've been on the streets, although I know this gets into prickly territory, but they've been on the streets saying things like defund the police, saying things like Black Lives Matter. And I know you might disagree with them, but there are real leftists who don't just live online. And so I hear you about, I absolutely concede our movements. We always talk about this. How can our movements be more attractive? Be, as Michael Albert, who wrote this book called Participatory Economics, he used to say, how do we make the left sticky, where people want to be there and stay there? And
you do it by showing them how they can exert agency in their local politics. I genuinely think that is one of the case, or at least part of it. You got to help people see that they have more power and agency than they give themselves credit for, and show them what they can do. And on top of that, you got to build a support structure, a community that can actually provide for one another and its members. You got to build something like that where it's not just a one-way street. It has to have support beams. It has to have goals. It has to have a rooted ideological purpose. And that's what Cenk is lacking here. It's because he can't or is incapable of taking that step that would actually embrace an anti-capitalist message that centers people over profits. Can't do it. He can't do it. Sad day. It's really disappointing, you know? Does he truly think the majority of his audience want to see him trading pleasantries with Charlie Kirk? Right? What, like, who? This isn't for anyone except for your own ego. It's to stroke yourself publicly.
Live from the Polymarket studio in LA.
It's for sure. It's by not over policing one
No, this isn't my longest stream, Banana Brains. It's my longest stream in a hot minute, but not my longest stream ever.
another, and it's by meeting people where they're at. And I think that is absolutely true. But for me, it is not about, to me, it's not about what I see is conceding to a right-wing framing within the ceiling of Trumpism, because there's always a ceiling, and that ceiling is Donald Trump.
But Franny, I'm not conceding, and facts have to matter. Facts have to matter.
Well,
like, you're painting me as a collaborator when I haven't collaborated at all. All I've done is,
dude, you went to a Turning Point USA event and basically all but sucked Charlie Kirk's dick on stage, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It was the least pushback I've ever seen.
argue for our positions, and in fact, you showed a couple of times when I argued for our positions, right? And if you showed all the right-wing shows that I was on, you would see me fighting for left-wing positions on right-wing shows that no one's ever done. And do you know that on the Patrick?
I've been on Piers Morgan. I do that a lot.
So, oh yeah, if you count Piers Morgan, I totally agree with you. Patrick,
if you count Piers Morgan, oh man, does that mean in his head Cenk wasn't even considering Piers Morgan as a conservative? Is that what that means? If you count him, I don't think I think Cenk doesn't think of Piers Morgan as a conservative. Oh man, dude.
Patrick Bet Davis show, I made the second to last time I was on, I made a case for paid family leave. They polled their audience. 75% of that right-wing audience said, yes, we should pass paid family leave. Who else has done that? And for that, I get called a collaborator, and I implicate others in my collaboration.
Are they going to do it, Cenk? If 100% of that audience agreed on paid family leave, do you think that Republicans would do it? Because guess what? They won't. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that they'll do that. On top of that, do you really think, like if that's your position, keep in mind the majority of Americans support common sense gun reform. And yet you immediately ceded that as a losing issue in these appearances. You used it to frame yourself as like prove your far left bona fides. I don't know, dude. Seems pretty silly.
Can you not see how unfair that is?
So what is the goal then? Do you hope that maybe some of those 75% are people who heard your argument around paid family leave are like, you know what? Let me check out TYT. Like, let me see what they're about. Like, I liked what he said on this one thing. Is that also the goal?
So the strategy is to coalesce populists on the thing. Now I'm saying it for the 200th time because it's not getting through.
So, but it's not about audience then. It's not about maybe getting some of their audience. Because I understand, I don't know what you're talking about in like what framework. You know,
So,
are you a movement leader? Are you going to start a political party, or are you just the head of an online channel? I mean,
dude, he's gone. He's over there talking about starting a new political party. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it'll be as successful as your run for president, man.
the latter is what we know to be true, right?
Also, I would really like someone to ask him what happened to the money he raised to be president. because I know he got donos. He was soliciting them from his audience.
Yeah. So look, when Jimmy left and other people left, people, oh yeah, Young Turks are going down, blah 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 blah. No, it was total nonsense. Never had any issues. Here, this is a giant fight, and we do have issues. Okay, and so that is standing on principle. No, it's not like I didn't know that we were going to get into this huge issue, right? And that the other left-wing hosts were going to take this as a great opportunity to try to whittle us down. And so we've gone through all that, and we've done that. So why am I doing?
Well, the thing is, Paladin, exactly. Coalesce and do what? Like we're post-election. What do? Right? Like we coalesce a political party, and what's the next step?
I haven't heard the TTS enough this stream. I'm being the change I want to see in this world.
Veronica B, thank you so much for the $10 super chat and the much-needed BWA energy injected into the stream. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for being the change. Also, thank you to all 525 of you who are watching right now. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me your time and attention. And hopefully I've been providing a decent enough breakdown of this.
Number one, because I believe absolutely that it is the right strategy and the right policy, and to the ultimate goals that you're asking about. Franny, number one, we've got to win the primary 2028. So why am
We've got to win the primary in 2028. Bro, there are other things going on between now and 2028. We got other shit we got to do. We got to shore up like local and state elections in 2026. We've got to start today. We've got to start now. That's why I keep telling people to get involved in their local and state Democratic parties, in their local DSA orgs, you know, in their local like soup kitchens. Like, get out there. We have to get people on the ground now, so we're not in the position we are currently in 2 years from now and 4 years from now. We need to have people inside the system and people organized outside the system in order to pressure the Democratic Party into better positions, more popular positions, more effective positions as we go forward. And in the process, we can improve our cities, we can improve our towns, we can improve our states, and we can shore up a potential power structure for 2028. But like, if we don't do anything, and if we're just like twiddling our thumbs and we're just like la-di-da-di-da and reacting to what Donald Trump does rather than building the future we want to see, well, guess what? It's not going to work. No one's coming to save us. The Democratic Party certainly isn't coming to save us. We need to save ourselves. And the way we do that is by taking control of the Democratic Party and by getting involved with DSA and getting involved with outside organizations in order to pressure Democrats, both from within and without. We need to do that. That's the best shot we got, folks. And that's why I keep reiterating, you know, if you need help joining DSA, you can join riverboat.gg/discord, and you can ask Gamergy in the Discord how to join your local DSA. She'll gladly help you do so. She's helped many people in our Discord in order to do it, and she'll be happy to help you too. Okay, we also have education on how to do it within the Discord. We also have the amazing resource in our community member Dragonfly, who has helped write state-level policy for the Democratic Party. And she's willing to help you get involved within the Democratic Party in order to change your local and state elections, because you actually have the agency. Because guess what, guys? We know this from being inside the rooms. People don't show up to the goddamn meetings. When we're talking about Democrats and the Democratic meetings, you can make a difference by by going to a meeting yourself, getting to know people. That's it. That's it. That's organizing. You did it. And if you grab like 5 friends to go with you, 2 friends, 3 friends, 1 friend to go with you, you can exert so much more influence in your local and state level politics. You can do it. We can do the thing. You have so much more power and influence than you give yourselves credit for. And the system wants to take that from you at every available turn. And I'm telling you, all you have to do is show up to the meetings. That is the first step. And from there, we can actually exert pressure and change our world, our local areas for the better. You know, we covered a story earlier today about how Miami was able to provide housing and social services to its homeless population rather than throw them in jail, which is what they were doing. And for 20 years, Miami was forbidden by court order from putting homeless people into jail. And so instead, out of necessity, they invested into housing programs. They invested into social services.
I would also like to be the change. Thanks for being such a vital, intelligent presence in this space.
Sterling Thomas, thank you for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate it. But through the local efforts of people within Miami, and Miami's in Florida, guys. Florida's a deeply red place. Through local organizing, they were able to bring the homeless population down by 90%. 90%. And not by putting them into jail, not by throwing them in prison, not by criminalizing them, but by giving them homes and giving them social services. And that was something they could do in their city. And you can do it in your city. You can do it in your town. You can make sure that there's no one in your city or town who freezes to death in the middle of the winter. You can be that voice that actually gets action done. So I'm hearing you say the best strategy is not personally giving Charlie Kirk or Nick Fuentes a blowjob. That I am saying that may not be the best strategy. It's true. I drop off food for my local community meal. It's political, but it's not nothing. Exactly, Greaves Underground. Do something. Do something that gets you involved in your community and gets you involved and gets you like face to face, shaking hands with other people. You know, be able to make that eye contact with folks. Logan Hill, thank you for the gifted membership over on YouTube. I very, very much appreciate it. Oh, it's not political. I would argue that getting involved and supporting people in your community who are in need is an inherently political act. Everything's politics. With that said, let's finish this up. We're in the end stretch, okay? But remember, folks, we have the tools to get you involved and to change your local politics. You are not helpless, and there are things that you can do. And this community, I want it to be a place you can turn to that will actually be willing to do shit. It's not enough anymore in the current political time we're in. It's not enough to just have correct opinions on the internet. We need to turn those correct opinions into correct action. Michael Reich, thank you for the $5.87 super chat.
I will match every $5 super chat.
Damn. Bold words for a bold man. Thank you so much. Let's finish this up.
Am I saying things where I go, hey, I'm center left and I do not agree with far left? Because I believe far left will be used, and you could disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. Kyle Kalinske disagreeing, no problem. You disagreeing, no problem. Jordan,
Hassan
everybody disagrees, no problem. It's only when they lie and they do bad faith is when I've got the issue. Okay, so now, so you guys disagree, no problem, guys. Okay, but my goal is, number one, in order to win that primary, we've got to convince the normies that we're not going to release all the criminals. I know it sounds like hyperbole, and I know that really bothers people, but that's how they're thinking. That's why Oakland recalled their mayor 65-35, because now they started to think that the word progressive means release the criminals. No, it doesn't mean that. It means Medicare for all. It means paid family leave. It means higher wages. So that's why I have to distinguish in order to win that primary between the center left and the far left. And also
Your
because
move,
it's true.
Michael. Pepe.
Uncle Gumball, thank you for the $5 dono. I appreciate that. For the Logan Hill, thank you for the $5 super chat. Y'all, thank you so much.
For the match and vital service this channel is providing.
Thank you so much. And I know we had a lot of new faces today. I hope you come back on a new day when we after we finish this segment.
I am center left. And the great majority of those voters are center left. They do not agree with the far left on some of the extreme trans issues, crime issues, etc.
You don't think that
when we get to the general election,
You know, a great example of why Cenk is wrong here is that let's take healthcare for example, right? The far left wants Medicare for all, right? The far left wants Medicare for all. Oh, Michael Reich, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. And Veronica B, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Buddy, I wish I'd have said that earlier. I'd have done 2 5s instead of a 10. Blah, and also blah, but furthermore, blah.
BWA, BWA. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much. But one of the things here is that I totally lost my train of thought.
elections between ages. So that's why I have to distinguish in order to win that primary between the center left and the far left. And also because it's true.
Thank you, Michael
I am
Reich.
center left. And the great
Oh, I just remembered what I was about to say, right? When it comes to healthcare, right? You have the center-left position, which is that, well, we should have mostly privatized care, but you know, maybe we should lower some of the drug prices, and maybe we should do some some more gatekeeping. Who deserves the health care enough? That's really what we need to do. We need to make sure the people who are getting free health care from the state deserve the free health care. That's the center-left position. You got to do the gatekeeping. You got to do the means testing. Meanwhile, the far left is like, we want everyone to have healthcare, full stop. And when you look at those two policies, it turns out that it's cheaper to do healthcare for everyone, Medicare for all. It's cheaper. It's more effective. It is better at keeping people healthy. It's better at increasing the assurance and security people enjoy when it comes to healthcare. It is better at covering all the things that people need to have covered. It is better in basically every conceivable metric than what the center-left position is on healthcare. And when he says, like, I'm center-left, most people don't agree with that. It's like, well, guess what? Most people want good healthcare. Most people want good healthcare. If you want good healthcare, you gotta be far left. And you know what? When he introduced that policy, people fucking love their universal, non-means tested programs, like Social Security. People like that. Also, Sterling Thomas, thank you for the $5 super chat. I very, very much appreciate it. Yeah, Tyrion the Himalayan Salt Dragon, I saw that, and it was deeply disappointing. Because, frankly, if Cenk is someone who genuinely believes in Medicare for all, then it shouldn't matter if an immigrant held in a U.S. detention center is getting health care or not. You know, he just doesn't think it's necessary health care. You know, he, for whatever reason, you know, immigrants should be denied necessary health care if they're trans, I guess, is his position. Yeah. I don't know. Is he the left? Is he the center left? I thought he built the home of progressives. I thought progressive leftists were supposed to be pushing for better and more expansive policies. Silly me.
I will do more for the match game.
Yo, Nora Koo, thank you for the $5 super chat. And Michael Reich, thank you for the $5 match as well. I very, very much appreciate that. Michael Reich does tend to donate very specific amounts. I'm not entirely sure why, but I'm not mad at it. So he's pulling a John Fetterman. I genuinely think he's just kind of deranged in the most misguided way imaginable. Like I think that is kind of what we're looking at here. Dude looks like he's almost about to cry. I think he genuinely believes what he's peddling, but what he's peddling is bullshit.
Great majority of those voters are center-left. They do not agree with the far left on some of the extreme trans issues, crime issues, etc.
You don't think that
when we get to the general election, just to finish the thought,
Yeah.
when we get to the general election, can we win over some of those former Bernie?
I don't know if he's a grifter or not, Floof the Floofy. I think it's entirely possible for him to just be stupidly misguided. Michael Reich, thank you for the 587. I appreciate that. Appreciate you.
People that went to the right wing, can we win over the independents and moderates that are not MAGA but voted for Trump because they says Trump was more anti-establishment than Kamala Harris was? Can we win those guys over so that our side wins? I believe we can, but and I'll use myself as an example again. So
I believe we can. No, you
NGL,
can't.
this community is the best.
Sterling Thomas, thank you for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate that. The BWA energy from you guys tonight is off the charts. I really appreciate it. Now, what's interesting here is that he's like, well, I think we can win over the populists on the right. And guess what, guys? We can. But we can do it like Bernie Sanders did, which didn't involve throwing minorities under the bus. It didn't involve shitting on the far left. It didn't involve any of that. It just involved embracing like broad working class policies. If you build it, they will come. If you have healthcare for all, Medicare for all, the people who are drawn in by those working class policies on the right will come to vote for you. But it doesn't involve all this backbiting, all of this like throwing other leftists under the bus. You don't have to do that. But the way Cenk is going about this, and he's trying to like tie it in with Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders did not run like this. This is not what Bernie Sanders was into or interested in. And trying to make it seem like that is, I mean, it's not stolen valor, but it's almost like a stolen political valor, you know? He's trying to like co-opt the legitimacy of Bernie Sanders for himself in a completely unearned way. And I don't know. I think that's kind of gross.
So when they tried the Muslim ban, I have every right to call them Islamophobe from here to the end of the earth. I have every right to be concerned about me and my family, okay?
You said that he didn't implement that. Earlier in this conversation, you talked about how Donald Trump didn't actually do that.
Thank you, Jack, for all your hard work.
Salty Turtle Cupcake, thank you for the $5 dono. I very, very much appreciate that. Banana Brains, thank you for the $5 super
Let's
chat.
Let's bring that thing BWA energy. This calls for trombone champ. Please let it count. Let it count. Let it count. Let it count. Shrimp.
Shimp. Shimp. Shimp.
But I don't believe it's the right strategy to call them Islamophobes and to push them away. I think the correct strategy is to go in the room.
Yeah, Jess, I tried to cover it. I made it very... I did not make it through all of Thanksgiving. It was insufferable. Michael Reich, thank you for the $5 dono. That is incredibly generous of you.
Get some agreement on some things that we agree on, and then fight over the things we don't agree on, but treat each other as American citizens and human beings. And then at the end go, hey, by the way...
Also, we'll do Trombone Champ at the end of stream. Don't you worry. We'll get there.
Good on you to show how to redistribute wealth. Like a true max leftist should. Ha ha ha.
It's true, Michael Reich, you're going maximum leftist today. Logan Hill, thank you for the $5 super chat. I very much appreciate that. Thank you so goddamn much. Bernie, a flawless track record of fighting for human and civil rights since a college kid, Cenk, a former Republican who denied the Armenian genocide well into middle age, right? Well, and it goes beyond that, like denied the Armenian genocide, and then also just like has kind of been ineffectual. Like he got ousted from Justice Dems. He's been blundering about when it comes to his political career. He voted and endorsed a conservative in his local elections. Like, dude's doing a heel turn now. He denied a union. Like, all of those are bad things, but they've all been exacerbated by the fact that he's embraced terrible politics.
BWA socialism is coming for Michael's bank account. BWABWABRAPBRAP.
Brap, brap, brap. Blah, blah, brap, brap. Uncle Gumball, thank you for the $5 dono. Michael Reich, thank you for the $5.87 dono. I very, very much appreciate it. Appreciate you immensely. Appreciate the energy here in chat. Let's go.
I'm Muslim, okay? So do you think someone like me should be banned from the country? And when you do it that way, 9 out of 10 times they go, well, no, of course not. Of course not. But if I came in and said, you're an Islamophobe and you're a racist and a bigot, they'd say, ban this mother effer, right? And so
the goal of politics isn't to like cajole your enemies, it's to defeat them. Like they would deport you if you were mean to them, then you shouldn't be kowtowing to them. You should be seeking to build up the political power to oppose them and defeat them. Leave their ideology in the dustbin of history.
1 to 10, how much is Cenk's recent behavior just his ego, EO?
Ooh, Zia Spots, I would put it at like a solid 8. A solid 8, honestly.
Oh no, don't vote damn, they are too radical and inauthentic. Also, we should be able to debate this calmly, not like taking away rights is harmful, person face-bombing.
Amelia, too true. And also, yeah, we should be able to debate this calmly like adults, says the man who's been screaming almost incoherently at the person who wanted to talk to him for solid 40 minutes of this 2-hour discussion. God damn.
Oh no, I was just spooked by 3 Shimpmas ghosts. I accidentally the entire keyboard.
Sterling Thomas, thank you for the $5 super chat. Quigley, thank you for the $2 super chat. I really appreciate it, guys. Amber Brains, thank you for the $5 dono. My God. Good golly, folks. And you know what that means. You know what that means, guys.
Not enough Dono's ghosts tonight. Ooh, oh.
The Dono Ghost. Ooh.
Ha ha ha, Riverboat Jack, you fool. You've engaged my special ability. By correctly pointing out my transphobia and corruption, I can't activate my trap card. Go Max Leftism.
Max Leftism.
I hereby cast a spell of warning to protect the chat. And a second spell to summon the Dono Ghost.
We got some Dono Ghosts in here. God, this song slaps so hard. I love it. Is this a Jazz Dog joint? It is indeed. He made a BWA Dono Ghost song.
Hello, it is I, Maximilian Leftism, the president of Antifa and creator of the left. I have come to bring you new orders. Follow me and disregard the false prophet Cenk.
Hello, Maximilian Leftism. Is this Maximilian Leftism the first or the second? I want to make sure who I'm talking to. Can we get a link to this song? No, it's a special download just for me. I'm sure it'll be online sometime, though. It's also a banger. Jazz Dog only makes bangers. Oh man, the way Jazz Dog tickles the keys, man. You have a very talented community? I do! Y'all are wonderful! $420 likes? Shut it down. We need to get like a anime villain song remix of I Am the Left. You know? We need that. I think it'd be fun. Let's finish this up. We've still got like 10 minutes left. We haven't been able to progress.
So I just think it's you guys have the wrong strategy and some wrong policies.
Penny
But that's a
Ante,
normal
you
part of
are a
healthy
wonderful
debate.
addition to
We
this
could have
community.
had that debate.
Never
without
sell
people
yourself short.
Making wild accusations.
Well,
Instead of just saying we disagree, they're collaborator, right-wing fascists, etc.
I really
so
hope that
that's-
you do, and I hope, let's leave it. I really do hope that you can get past what you feel are slights, to actually speak to some of the people that you're talking about, to be in more rooms with leftists.
No way I would ever talk with those losers. They're too far gone. They're unreachable. They don't even know what the left is anymore. I am the left. Like what are you doing? Like what is this? Honestly, you know what this all reminds me of with Cenk? You know what this reminds me of with Cenk Uygur? I need to show you guys. Here we go. Oh no. That was incorrect. All right. Can we get I don't want TikTok. Why is it all TikTok? God damn it. Yeah, here we go.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
You can excuse racism. So
Like that's basically the general gist of it. I don't know if you could hear it. I'll just replay it.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
you can excuse racism. So
Like it really does kind of boil down to that for me. Like a lot of it is like Cenk just trying to be like, look, I can excuse Charlie Kirk's white supremacy.
Oost. I feel like I started a bunch of nonsense that's keeping us from finishing the video, but I ain't mad.
It's all good, Veronica B. I appreciate the support. But he's like, literally, I can excuse Charlie Kirk's white I can forgive Charlie Kirk's white supremacy, but I draw the line at Sam Cedar calling me insincere, which is like, what? Wait, what was that first part?
Who you may disagree with, and more people who are ultimately on your side. I've had the same conversation with Van Jones back in 2016, man. It's like I'm deja vuing all over again, where I told him the left is more on your side than the right. And he's like, no, the left wants to tear me down. But anyway, Cenk, it's really great to have such a candid, open conversation. I like that we can both be very Mediterranean about it and get like super mad, but then rein it in and be cool and then be like, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna yell and then we're gonna be fine and then we're gonna get over it. So
are they gonna be fine and get over it? Because I wouldn't. Seems like a pretty stark ideological divide here.
that's the kind of beer I like to have.
Yes, thank you.
And
so,
but not with Charlie Kirk. And I will leave it at that. Everybody, you can check out all of the interviews. You don't have to, it does not hearsay. Watch for yourselves and see Cenk, and obviously every single day on TYT, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, Cenk, for being here.
So, Franny, last thing I've clarified. I'm going on every kind of left wing show. Yours, Mark Lamont Hill, Breaking Points, Brian Tyler Cohen, Dollcast. There's just
Dollcast is not a left wing show. It's not at all. Don't make me even talk about it. It's gross. Honestly, Breaking Points isn't even a left-wing show, but at the very least, Crystal Ball is the best part of that show. So, Mr. Miyagi, yes, you are correct.
just a whole destiny. Where I guess he's kind of on the left.
Oh boy, don't talk about Israel.
But I'm going, David Packman. I go on every show. The only shows there's only a couple of shows I don't go on because I think they're bad faith. And what they then do is saying, oh, he's not going on any left-wing shows. What, because they're the demigods of the left? No, I'm going on shows that have good faith, where we have wild disagreement. And like you said, sometimes we even yell at each other, but when we settle down and we have a beer, so this idea that I'm not going on left-wing shows or we're not doing left-wing stuff is just not
Well, we're making
true.
the second round. We're like the second tour. We're the B cities of your A cities tour.
No, that's not true. Randy, the whole network is left-wing. So, I mean, the aberration was going to talk to the right wing.
Well,
so
I mean, here's another. I would love to see you and the doc just debate the police. Like you and the doc talk about crime. Like that would be
a great idea.
I would watch the shit out of that because
we don't disagree on the police. We disagree on. I don't even know that we disagree on crime. So be careful what you wish for.
No, exactly. You guys might agree. I'm just.
I hate listening to Cenk talk about crime, by the way. Not because I don't believe that crime happens, but because he's wrong. You know, he's been on this tear about how cashless bail is ruining cities for ages now, and it's just not true. They're not letting out alleged murderers from prison. You know? Come on.
Because all we do on that show, right, is look at like Karen videos and cop videos. So like, everyday racism and like institutionalized racism.
But I totally agree with what Rashad says on the cop.
Dr. Michael Reich, that's all good.
That's Dr. Rashad Ritchie's show that Franny is referring to. Check out Damage Report. That's John's show. John is closer in his policy views to Franny than he is to me, I think, these days, etc. So please give all those shows an opportunity. Check out everybody on Rebel Headquarters. That's where there's tons of interesting agreement, disagreement, etc. But there aren't any right-wingers at TYT. It's the whole range of the left. Sure. And I'm going to always allow that range. Everyone from like moderate left, like I don't mean center left, I mean moderate as in actually closer to the middle, closer to Republicans, etc., all the way to far left. And
Yeah, we all picked up the message that you're very close to Republicans, Cenk. That's been very obvious. You didn't need to spell that out in almost hour 2 of this.
Everything in between. So that's what TYT stands for. And everybody in that spectrum gets to have their opinion, but that also includes me and Anna. We're also allowed to have our opinions, our own policies, and our own strategy. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Cenk, thanks so much for being here. Go live your damn life. See you later.
Wait, what was that about Emma? Wait, did he mention Emma at the end there? I feel like I must have missed that.
As in, like, actually, like closer to the middle, closer to Republicans, etc. Left. I mean, tons of interesting agreement, disagreement, etc. But there aren't any right wingers at TYT. It's the whole range of the left.
Sure.
And I'm going to always allow that range. Everyone from like moderate left, like I don't mean center left, I mean moderate as in like actually like closer to the middle, closer to Republicans, etc., all the way to far left and everything in between. So that's what TYT stands for. And everybody in that spectrum gets to have their opinion, but that also includes me and Anna. We're also allowed to have our opinions, our own policies, and our own strategy. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Cenk, thanks so much for being here.
I didn't hear the Emma part.
Live your
I'm
damn
sorry.
life. See you later. And thank you all for being here. It was beautiful. It was heated. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And you know, there's a lot to discuss. And these are conversations that I think we're just going to continue to have, especially when it comes to establishment, anti-establishment, right populism, left
I'm gonna link
populism, and
Francesca
just straight up
Fiorentini's channel.
disagreeing. And I think the last piece
Go,
of
give her a
just too much
sub.
to get into with him.
Like
but,
the
you
video,
know,
etc.
where majority opinion is at on issues like crime has everything to do with our media ecosystem. And the perception of crime being up, just like the perception of the economy being bad, has everything to do with how people vote, right? Now, of course, Cenk would probably say, no, look at these stats, look at those stats. But man, it ain't the 80s, guys. It has gone down, right? But our perception of it is absolutely shaped by the right-wing ecosystem that has far more power and connections to real power. So not just right-wing funding, but literally we've tracked you know, there have been great documentaries. I think it was the QAnon Into the Storm documentary that basically tracks how the right and MAGA and Trump launder the most obscure stories upward till they become policy, right? I mean, there is a pipeline, a reverse pipeline from, you know, the backwaters of right-wing conspiracy theorists and literal, like, you know, and the White House. And so they have far more power than we had. If only there was a pipeline between us and Nancy Pelosi or, you know, anyone in power. Sadly, there's not yet. And so I think it's really important to remember that as we think about narrative and messaging, as we go forward and we try, again, I've said this multiple times, how can we humanize migrants, right? They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. And the New York Times does one article about Haitians in Springfield like a month after the whole thing. And it was great. But why isn't every single news outlet doing their job of humanizing immigrants? Who are we talking about? What about trans people? Who are we talking about when we talk about trans people? And so you will see that from me.
Me. You're talking about me. It's me. I'm the trans person.
Specifically see that from this show going forward, speaking to organizers and activists who are on the ground, who are working with the trans community and defending them, who are working with the immigrant community, especially the Haitian immigrant community and Black immigrants, I think obviously particularly aggressed upon. So like, that is something that I will always center, is that kind of work, in addition to the radical analysis, yes, radical analysis of real intersectionality, real broad-based
Cenk is the left and I am the trans person.
coalition work that needs to be done to build for our side to win. I don't want to give the other side any credit. I want to win. And when we win, I want their figures to come over to our side and be,
you know, honestly, I'm really shocked, and again, massive amount of respect to Francesca here for holding it together after Cenk leaves and not like immediately collapsing, because like I'd want to immediately collapse. That was an awful social situation to even observe. I can't imagine living through it. That looked like it really sucked for her.
Be like, ooh, what's going on there?
Logan Hill, thanks for the
Hey,
gifted
can't we
membership
work
over
together?
on YouTube.
They work
Let's
pretty similar
go.
on these issues. And again, I think I made my point pretty clearly that there is no difference between this MAGA and that MAGA. It's the same thing. The Trojan horse is the same thing. They just they dusted it off for 2024. And people perceive the economy to be bad, and it is bad. Because if you don't have stocks, it fucking sucks, man. It's not good out here to try and live and make ends meet. And absolutely Biden fumbled the ball on that. So, you know, it's I guess I just really bristle at the us versus them. If you're not with me, you're against me. You're wrong and I'm rightness that the left, not the left, that the internet maybe is so obsessed with. And I feel like we saw that on display, sadly, a little bit from Cenk.
A little bit.
And, you know, but what are you going to do, guys? Hey, if you want to support me
and you should, because she's awesome.
My cause over here on my little show, do that. The Bituation Room is
Make it a
supported
bigger
by
show.
you and you only. Patreon.com/Bituation Room is where you go to get so many good perks, so many bonus episodes. We do a bonus episode every Wednesday. If you just
do it, I'm linking it in chat now.
If you just love what I just did, throw me some bones over there. Also, you can become a member on YouTube and get those same perks, the same bonus perks. But you get 20% off merch when you become a patron. You get discounts on the American Prospect, which I write for every single edition. But when you
also, American Prospect, good. You should check it out. It's good stuff.
Become a patron, you get access to Ask Me Anythings. When you become a patron, you get access to guest suggestions. You get.
I really want Cenk to talk to Sam Cedar. I do too, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
So many things when you become a patron. Patreon.com/Bituation Room. Do
we should
it.
Get
go
Jack
there.
On Friend's show. I would love to be on Francesca's show. I would love that. I think she's really cool, and I have a massive amount of respect for her.
I also potentially will have Anna Kasparian on. I think it's important that these two people aren't the same. So my kid is crying and I should go, but I love y'all. We'll see you very soon.
Damn, that sounds stressful as hell. Oh, God. Massive props to Francesca. I like that Sam Cedar has become the final boss monster of the left. It's true. He's destroyed everyone else.